You need a great opener, like somehow we're adults. Do.
We can record that right
some
now.
Some kind of like.
We can record that right now.
Everybody be quiet.
Somehow we're adults.
Telling you what, you have enough drinks and
Oh, wow.
what? It's fucking cool, right?
That's interesting.
Listen to yourself too. Talk.
Hello?
Whoa.
Oh, I'm annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So you drink enough liquor on this podcast. I just some reason Wyatt is just real inclined to pulling his pants down sometimes, and we've had to do some editing several times. So
Make it look bigger or smaller?
well, in one we just cut it out completely. Just cut that whole chunk of the video. Because to be fair, him and I in that podcast, so it was Cody, Wyatt, me, and Colton, right? So it's the three of us, and I mean, you've hung out with all of us before. It just gets shitty. I mean, we just get crazy, and we started drinking. That was fun, and that was when we came up with the challenge podcast, and I just remember we had to film it in two different days because we got so hammered that we stopped. Like I was belligerent. Like I was like the part of the video that cut out, I'm laying on the table and I was holding, so the bottle opener I have for the podcast is a battle axe, and I was just holding it. I was like, I have a battle axe, and I was there's just bottles everywhere. We're spilling drinks all over the place. It's almost like every time I do a podcast with them where we're drinking, which is every podcast with them, we have to keep paper towels in the podcast studio because we always get hammered and spill a drink. So we had to do that, and then we stopped that one, and what really made it stop was that Wyatt pulled his pants down because he spilled liquor on his pants, and he's was going to suck the liquor out of his pants. And Wyatt doesn't wear underwear, so we cut that one out. And
Who
then
was sucking the liquor?
Wyatt was sucking.
Wyatt was going to suck the liquor.
He spilled his
out of his own pants.
It was Buffalo Trace. That's good whiskey.
If he could do that while they were on, he would never need another woman again.
Okay, so so he pulled his pants off, and we were all hammered, and so we cut that part of the podcast out. I started vomiting afterwards. It was great. Wyatt had a rough night too. Cody and Colton were fine. They responsibly drank, unlike us. The problem was we had a bunch of different shooters. So my stepdad had gotten me a thing for Christmas one year with just a bunch of different shooter bottles, and it was just a bunch of random shit that you would never think about buying, and most of it I'd never had, and I was like, I'm tired of looking at these. Can we just drink these? So we got all drunk enough to where it was yeah, we'll take shots of dumb shit, and we started doing a spin the bottle. So so if we had just done spin the bottle, it was we had taken different bottles. We did a spin the bottle game, so that way we passed out all the drinks, and it was we all just started mixing liquor and beer and all kinds of it was like a cocktail soup in our stomachs. It was disgusting. And yeah, we got real fucked up that night. And second time was another one where we were both drinking. I don't think Wyatt was as drunk as he normally is. We were relatively we were buzzing pretty good and stuff like that, but we just start talking shit and stuff. Dude, those podcasts are the most fun though. I literally was watching it this morning. It's the most fun.
Wyatt has something against sobriety at times. It's like an all or nothing type of deal, and I love him so much for it.
That is a great way to put that. He has something against sobriety.
We went to Jenny Springs years ago, and you know how Wyatt has super bad allergies, the worst we've ever seen, pretty much. So it hit him within 5 minutes of us being there, and
somehow we're adults.
That was it. We did it.
And
anyone listening, that was the.
We might have to cut that part out.
Sure.
I'll probably. I don't know. I'll figure this out. I'll keep going.
This is Wyatt as a person. This was me as a person at the time as well.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not in that anymore, obviously.
Okay.
But
different Wyatt. Just continue. Whatever. Keep going. So tell me the story. Tell me the story.
Somehow we're adults.
Jesus Christ.
That's the story. If I remembered any more, that part wouldn't be true.
Jesus Christ.
I felt so bad for him, man. It was bad. I guess it was peak pollen season, and then I don't know if you've ever been up to Jenny Springs or.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, Yeah, I've been going there my whole life. We used to have family reunions there.
I need to go up again. I want to go primitive camping up there. It's a good ass time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about primitive camping that's just super fucking fun, man.
I have all the equipment for it.
I mean, what is the equipment? The equipment is as much shit as you want. I mean,
define primitive.
Like no electric, no running water. You know
That's
what I mean?
what I was
Like just dirt. That's it. And
no tent.
No, I'm saying primitive camping. Yes, you can take a tent, but I'm saying there's no like a lot of campgrounds, and you know this too. Like they have like electric and water hookups. So even if you're tent camping, you have a convenience of you can plug an extension cord in, you can run fans, you can run a bunch of shit. Like most primitive camping, you have to run off battery powered or you have to run it off a fucking generator. But you know, one way or another, you have to bring your own power pretty much. But dude, it's so much fun. Like, cause I'm pretty sure you probably do this where you take gas cooking stuff that cooks off of propane, like those little fucking gas 2-burner stoves and shit. Or you take like a cast iron and cook over the fire. I don't know. There's just something fucking I love about it.
I have everything. We just haven't used it.
Yeah.
I've had it for like 2 years. I found it on Facebook Marketplace. This guy selling like really cool tent. Tent was like $500 brand new. And I got that and just a bunch, like everything you need for like $400 total.
Yep.
I really wanted to get into camping, and I guess I went back to work, and then I don't know, we had a kid or something, so that hasn't really
Bro,
timed up too
why,
well.
what is it about camping that just is fucking desirable? Is it just being out in the woods away from home and making it harder to feed yourself? Like, you know what I'm saying?
So much more difficult.
Like, I'm more uncomfortable when I sleep. Showering is a task. Getting clean and not smelling like a foot. You know what I mean? Like cooking, you have to be like, okay, we gotta get cooler. Like you eat the most like shit you would never eat at home. It's like we're having hot dogs for dinner. It's like we
Your
don't eat that.
best friend is dirt. It's everywhere.
Literally, it's in the tent, out of the tent.
I know.
You're sleeping with a blanket you haven't used in years that some reason smells like it didn't get washed because it's been sitting there for so long. You know
It's
what I
so annoying. I can't wait to do it again.
I know. What is it about camping? It's fucking miserable, but I love it. It's like you have a miserable time. You're just fucking mad the whole time. You're like, you go to cook dinner or something like that, and you make this whole thing, and then you get home, and you're like, that was fun. We should do that again. It's like, what the fuck?
The one time we ever decided to pull the stuff out, we tried to camp at Daytona for Daytona Truck Meet. Keep in mind this takes place in July.
Jesus Christ. In Florida.
It's quite hot.
Yep. God, that's miserable. You can't sleep.
But that was okay because I've had it all figured out. I had a supportable AC unit, like one of those big stand-up units and everything. We woke up and the entire tent was flooded, but, you know.
Trade-offs. There's trade-offs in life.
It was miserable. I said, screw this, which is why all of my camping stuff has been in the shed since then. Once again, can't wait to pull it out again.
You have to time it for Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. It needs to be in the quote fall or quote spring.
There was one time Cody and I went hunting. This is right when we first started getting the hunting lease up in North Florida. And I remember our options for sleeping were sleeping in a storage container that was turned into a garage. I mean, it was insulated at one part of it so that way you could sleep in it. But it was just bunk beds and there was, no power or AC to it, but it smelled like gasoline. And I was like, I mean, it smelled like bad gasoline. So you're going to wake up with a headache pretty much. You know
If
what I
you
mean? The
wake
fumes. Yeah, just the fumes is just awful. And me and Cody both were like, we'll just take a tent. I'll stay in a tent. But this is middle of July, August. And I remember, you know how tents have like they got it where you can like half open the doors where it's like there's like 2 layers, the one outer layer that protects it from water, and then there's like a mesh layer so air can come through. So I opened everything up to where it was mesh, and I remember laying on my back on top of all of the blankets I brought, and I was in my fucking underwear, as close to naked as I could be. Like I was just like there was one layer of clothing left.
You were one wide away from
I was almost borderline indecent exposure. And I'm fucking laying there in my underwear, looking up at the top of the tent, and there's fucking mosquitoes and shit all over the outside, just trying to get to me. And I remember laying there, and I'm like, sweating. This is fucking miserable.
Yeah.
I'm sweating at night, and I can't get any cooler. Literally, the way that night ended up going, because it was fucking impossible to fall asleep. Like, I have to sleep where it's cold. I just have to. I can't be hot and sleep at the same time. And I remember that at that point, Cody's like, fuck this. I'm sleeping in the truck. I'm like, I'd rather sit up and sleep in the air condition than lay down in the heat.
100%. That's, yeah. Then again, when it comes to cold versus hot, I'd rather be sweating my balls off than shivering. I don't understand shivering. It's like a hiccup. Doesn't make sense. What am I doing?
Okay, so let me run you my hunting story. That's the shivering equivalent. So we slept in my dad's Yukon. You know, he's like a GMC Yukon. It's like the XL. It's fucking long as shit. It's like driving a fucking 4-door a crew cab long bed.
I own one.
Yeah, yeah. Yours is an XL?
It's a Suburban. It's the same
Yeah.
thing.
Okay. Yeah. It was the big boy. Yeah, and I remember. So it has the bench seat in the front and the middle, and in the back it had no seats taken out of it. So I remember my brother and I slept in the Yukon, and we laid down the middle seat. So it was basically like you're laying on like a queen size bed, and then he stayed on one side, I stayed on the other, and we left it running so that way the AC would run. But I guess somehow the AC button got turned off, so it was just blowing the outside air in. And I remember waking up drenched in sweat because when we went to bed we were comfortable because I guess the AC didn't, for some reason it kicked off. And I remember waking up and I was like sweating, and at that point I'm like, this needs to be addressed. Like I wanted to go back to sleep, but this has to be fixed. This was like 2 a.m. So I wake up and I'm fucking sweating. So is my brother. I flip the cold on. I turn it all the way cold and turn the AC button on, and it starts to get cold and I get all comfy. I fell asleep. I woke up an hour later fucking freezing.
At least you know it works.
But I literally was like, Jesus Christ. I over-exaggerated the one and turned the AC on. It was like freezing.
Speaking of your brother, by the way, very happy for him.
Yeah.
Very happy for him.
Yeah, he had a baby. Everyone listening.
Yep.
Ooh, shout out my brother.
That's
I'm
right.
excited.
That's right.
We get to carry on this terrible last name.
It's my favorite one.
We're like two. There's another person that has the last name that's related to me, but I guess he's not a like big part of the family. I've never met him before, and so I don't even count him. But so basically, it was me and my brother, the only people that can perpetuate this last name. So he had a boy. We're good.
Yeah, congratulations, Robbie.
Thank you.
It's amazing. Your life has officially changed. I don't know if I'm.
You had a kid too.
This is true.
Yep. How's dad life been?
It changes you. Changes the way you think. Changes the way you act. It's.
Which, for you, can you explain to the people what that's like? If not, I'll do it. Jake used to be 150% Jake. Now he's 149% Jake.
This is true. It's probably a really accurate statement.
Now he has to be like, oh shit, someone relies on me a little bit. Huh.
A little bit. I'm only solely responsible for another human's life.
You just showed me that you put 8 subwoofers in the back of the car. And so it hasn't changed you much.
But there's still room for the baby stuff.
That's the 1%.
I prioritized her.
1%. That's the 1%.
I want that to be her truck. My goal is for her to be suspended from school before she's on the property. When she's 3 miles away, I want them to call me. Be like, yeah, no, we can't do this.
I can't wait to see how your kid's going to turn out.
Bro, not only is it obviously my genetics, but Allie's as well. This is going to be the funniest, most hard-headed child that has ever roamed this planet. It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be very difficult.
How did you end up so crazy? Personality-wise.
Probably genetics.
You think it's genetics?
Well, a mix of that and just the environment that I was raised in.
So do you mind talking about your childhood?
It's fine.
Okay, I figured you normally don't give a shit about anything. You're an oversharer, similar to me.
This is very true.
So tell people about your childhood, because like I know gist of it, but we never talked about it. I guess.
Well, this podcast is about to be 4 hours long.
I need the cliff notes, Jake. So I was born, and I've been fucked ever since.
The end. We're done. Let's go.
And I bought a Chevy. Please don't forget the Honda Civic. We have to tell the Civic story.
I'm on my 29th vehicle.
You're not even 29 years old.
I'm 28. I'm 28. I'm on my 29th vehicle. And I just told you I'm looking for a 30th.
There was 2 vehicles that you've had that were just perfect. You had the red Chevy. What year was that? I'm sorry, it was GMC.
Oh, my first one or the second one?
The D. Dixon one.
R.I.P. Not D. Dixon. The truck. Still good friends with Dylan to this day. Very happy about that.
Yep.
But what about it?
There was 2 trucks that you had, in my opinion, that were just the best. The red truck
I want to imitate it one day.
that D. Dixon said. I never even saw that one in person.
Oh my gosh.
That was your favorite truck. Yeah. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
That's the one that high has been the one you've been
never get
chasing
over it.
since you had that one.
Yep.
Well, we need to talk about your childhood. We'll get there eventually. Tell me a little bit about your red truck and what happened, because that's a story in and of itself. And if D. Dixon, if you're listening, Jake's got some choice words for you. Okay.
I love you, buddy. It wasn't totally his fault either. It was nobody's freak accident, you know. But you know, I had it was a 04 Sierra, lifted 6 inches, 35s.
Extended cab, right?
Yep, extended cab. That's the truck I put my first system in. Me, Cody, and our buddy Cy.
System being like speakers and shit.
Yeah. We wired it up in the Johnson Wills parking lot down in Miami.
It's a college for New Orleans.
We had a good time down there.
Whole other conversation.
And it was 210s underneath the back seat. I couldn't have been happier with it. Like you said, I have 810s now.
Yeah.
And I just said yesterday, after a week of owning it, I need more. But the 210s under the back seat was real nice. Everything Pioneer. But we put I that's when I like first got into customizing vehicles and whatnot. I had my Avalanche before that, but that was kind of mommy and daddy funded a little bit.
The Avalanche was funny. It's the only gas motor that could roll coal.
She was a Duramax at heart.
So anybody listening, there was it blew black smoke out of the exhaust, and it was a 5.3 liter Chevy.
Yeah,
for no reason.
4 miles a gallon.
Yeah,
firing on 2.5 cylinders. I don't even know if that's possible, but that's what it was doing. So the Sierra, I remember we were customizing everything. I ended up getting one of those tuners for it, Super Chips, and we plugged in and everything. Me and Cody are messing with it, and I started it up, and it stalled, and it did the same thing 3 times in a row. And I'm like, what did that just do to my truck? I started it for the 4th time, and it sounded like a completely different motor had been put in it. And we were like, what the heck? All right, let's go put some gas in it, whatever. I put it in reverse to back out of the parking lot. Go to back up, just as I would always have. It starts roasting the tires. And me and Cody are looking at each other like, what just happened?
Ooh. Ooh. I gotta have to
go to the gas station. Same thing. Hit the gas as normal, like 2,000 RPMs. Peels out. I'm like, shout out Super Chips.
right.
From that day on, it went from 9 miles a gallon to 18 miles a gallon. No matter if I drove it like a granny, drove it like Danica Patrick, drove it if I was pulling my bass boat with it, like no matter what, 18 miles a gallon on 35s out of a 5.3. You can't be mad at that.
How much was the Super Chip?
It was like at the time, I think it was $300.
Fucking worth it.
They're probably more
especially
now.
if you save double on gas,
bro. 100%. Yeah.
Do you think that didn't destroy the motor, right? No, but
Yeah,
well,
I think it improved in every way. I mean, you can go in there and mess with your
I'll have to look at those because I might get one for mine.
It lets it breathe so much more, and if you combine it with an exhaust to let it breathe, I don't know if it makes a difference. I put the short ram intake on it. Everyone calls it a cold air, but that's incorrect. Cold air is if it goes down below the motor, so it's not true. It's a short ram intake.
Okay,
K&N.
continue.
Sorry,
you're good.
I get into it. But basically, what ended up happening, what Ryan's talking about, is we went to a fishing camp. He used to have a bass boat, and that's the vacations that I would like to take. We
This is why you're still in college, right?
still in college. Oh,
Yeah.
this
you're on like trip, a vacation. From
this
school.
is right after I left. This is like spring break, but I decided this isn't for me, and I went ahead and moved back home. And then this is that week. We were at Lake Blue Cypress over between Yeehaw Junction and Vero Beach. which I love how Yeehaw Junction is something like we don't bat an eye at it. It's just completely normal town for us to say. Anybody who
I
doesn't
never even thought about that.
anybody who doesn't know Florida is like, wait, what did you just say? There's a town called Yeehaw Junction.
We also got the Withlacoochee.
Aklawaha.
Yeah, right. We got all this shit, dude. You can live out in Thought Not a Nasty.
It's right down the street. Don't recommend it. Unless you live in like the Lazy Days house, don't recommend it.
Even then, you're living on a previous sewage dump.
Yeah. But
Alligator infested previous sewage dump. Surrounded by mansions, whatever. We'll just ignore that fact.
I remember being thrown off a tube in the middle of that lake, and like we called the north part of it Gator Cove. I was right in the middle of it, and then
Jesus Christ, fuck that.
somebody else still had to be thrown off the tube, so I'm just like floating there, like a giant target for these alligators.
That's so terrifying.
Like you just accept it at that point, like it's either gonna happen or it's not.
I'll kick this motherfucker in the jaw.
Can't play no shit.
All right, so you're on vacation, Yeehaw Junction.
Yeah. That place, first and foremost, Lake Blue Cypress, is one of the most gorgeous places I've ever been to, especially in the state of Florida. Like, you talk about 100% left alone, natural Florida. That's what that place is. Like,
Surprisingly, most people don't realize how much of Florida is barren. Like, there's just nothing there.
It's true. I always tell people the more inland you go, the more Florida it gets.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how it goes. Everyone, oh, we go to Florida and go to the beach. Like, we barely ever go to the beach.
Yeah.
Like, I hate the beach until I'm there. I talk so much shit about the beach.
And then when I leave, I'm like, fuck this place. Because there's sand everywhere.
But while I'm there, I'm having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the beach. Same thing.
Yeah. But we went, fishing and everything that day. And we were playing Monopoly. Keep in mind, we're 18, 19, 20 years old. I had just turned 19 at the time. So we should be being extremely irresponsible and getting fucked up, getting drunk.
Messed up? Is that what you almost said?
Messed up. No, never does that. Never
He said
will.
messed up, but he had a lisp for a moment. Get messed up.
So we go to leave there, and I mean, we had a few drinks. None of us were any sort of like
Tore up.
right, not at all. Dylan was messing with me, and he's Jake, you can't drive. I was perfectly fine to drive, but I don't care.
Yeah.
My parents were renting a cabin on the water, and we were staying on the campsite and tents. It's like a quarter mile away from each other. You just go around the canal. Like I said, I took a lot of pride in that truck. I loved it. I let other people drive it because it was so much fun to drive. It was awesome. And I was like, whatever, just take us over there. I just tossed him the keys. So me and him hop in the truck. I'm in the passenger seat. We got 3 friends in the bed of the truck, and we just start galloping over there. And he comes up to this canal, and like he's getting pretty close to it. It's pitch black.
And you guys are in the bed of the truck.
Like I said, 3 guys were in the bed. I don't know if you want to like mention names or.
No, you could just three dudes in the back.
Yep. And then we're in the cab. I'm in the passenger seat, and I'm like, Dylan, you're getting kind of close to the edge over here. And he's like, what? And he stops, and the truck comes to a stop. Before he can even put it in reverse and back up, or just turn to the left and move whatever, the ground underneath the back right tire completely gives out. And there's about a 10 foot embankment going straight down into a canal that's every bit of 6-7 feet deep. So
you have fucking 12 feet to fall.
Yeah. It immediately, like I said, the ground concaves, truck starts to roll over.
This is how high was your truck lifted? You might have said it already.
It was a 6-inch lift on 35s.
Yeah, so this is a big truck.
Yeah. I mean,
By most people's standards, that's a big truck.
to me at the time,
All of us at that time.
I'm the baddest of the bad at this point.
you had the biggest truck.
Lifted. I went from crank torsion keys to a lift kit, baby. This is what I'm talking about. But yeah, it started to roll over, and it happened so fast but so slow at the same time.
Fast in the moment, slow now when you think about it.
I felt like it rolled 6 times. It only rolled once. But I ended up unconscious in the back seat. Dylan was actually like laying on top of me
Because neither of you guys were in your
when
seatbelts.
I woke up. Right.
Yeah, because you're driving down a back road.
We were going a quarter of a mile on a dirt road in a fish camp.
Yeah, I wouldn't be wearing my seatbelt either.
Who's gonna
Right.
It's the unthinkable.
Yeah.
The first thing that goes through your mind is, holy fucking shit. How are my friends that were in the bed of a truck that just rolled?
Yeah, because it's easy way to get crushed.
Bro. The truck rolled, so one was sitting on each bedside, and then one was sitting in the middle facing the tailgate. And
On the toolbox?
like in front of the toolbox, like on
the ground.
down on the bed.
Okay.
The one sitting there and the one sitting on the bedside that the truck was rolling, the side the truck rolled to towards the water, both tucked into the bed. The truck protected them as it rolled over.
Thank God.
Logan, or name whatever,
Yeah, whatever.
was the one sitting on the bedside that went up. He got flung about 20 foot from the truck.
That's good.
In absolute gator infested waters. Like, you think the Notasassa has gators? Those are lizards.
Yes.
Those are lizards.
You shine a light.
These
in
are
those
gators.
Yeah.
Like
Untouched Florida
dinosaurs.
gators. Yeah.
And
Shine a light there at night, and you'll probably see a bunch of eyes looking back at you.
terrifying.
That's scary.
He said
The truck going in probably scared the shit out of the gators, though. But still, that's not something I want to fuck with.
bro, scared shit out of everyone involved. He said he hit the water, like he flew. You know what I'm saying? Like up in the air.
Logan's a small guy.
Yes.
At that time, too, especially.
Yes.
Yeah.
He hit the water swimming. Like midair.
I'm not staying in this water long. Like Tom and Jerry floated across the water.
All of us are thinking gators. Buddy who was sitting in the middle of the truck was just thinking frogs. Like there's so many frogs down here. I don't care about gators. So many frogs right now. So thankful. I don't even know who to thank for it. You know what I mean? One of us should have died. At least one of us should have died.
So truck ended up in the water?
It ended up in the water. If it didn't land back on all four tires, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you.
So it did a full 360 roll.
Full
Okay.
360.
Because otherwise you'd be unconscious underwater.
When it fell off the embankment, it smashed down on the passenger side. And then that's when it went over. And that's when everything happened so fast and so slow. So surreal. Like, this isn't happening. You know what I mean?
It's crazy you remember it if you went unconscious.
Like it was yesterday.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most terrifying moments of your life.
Yeah, because I remember the roll, and then I woke up in the back seat.
Who did somebody wake you up in the back seat?
No. Like me and Dylan. Like, I think Dylan might have been not because they said like they all got up the embankment and then noticed that we were still in the truck and not moving. And so
Jesus Christ, that's terrifying.
yeah, so they started to come down, and then they saw movement. So I guess that's right when so we were at least 30 seconds we were out, I would say.
Wow.
Because like they had to climb back up that embankment. Everyone's freaked out.
Yeah. So the people that were in the bed of the truck were fine,
Yep, not a scratch.
and Logan was wet.
Everyone was wet. You know, it
Yeah.
dumped them off in water. You know, they were in water. They were in mud mostly.
Yeah.
But like I said, the truck didn't even touch them. The bed sides
Kept them safe.
and the roof
Yeah.
hit the ground, and just dumped them off on the ground.
Yeah.
And Logan got catapulted.
Yeah.
And me and D-Dixon are slinging around in the cab. So anyway, I wake up and I'm like, you know, holy shit, there's no way. Like, just absolutely out of my mind. I climb up in the front seat. The battery's still on. And I try to open the door.
So truck turned off at that point.
The engine was off. The battery's on. Bottom of the window's here. Less than an inch below that is the water line.
Oh shit!
If the truck wasn't lifted, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you.
Wow, because it would have flooded while you were unconscious.
Tried to open the door. Way too much pressure. Couldn't do that. I hit the button and the window rolls down.
You're in the back seat.
Truck's completely underwater besides the windows.
But at this point, you're getting out of the truck, or you're in the front seat.
I climbed back to the front seat. Me and Dylan are in absolute panic mode.
Yeah.
Roll the window down with the press of a button. Climb out, and I reach down for my sidestep to get in the water and try and get out, and I missed, and I went completely underwater. I couldn't even touch, like completely underwater. I'm 5'11".
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even know how the truck was sitting. That it's not that big. It's lifted. It's not that big. But just somebody else is in control that day is the only thing I can say. And then the first thing I think is great. My truck is completely gone, and now I'm gonna get eaten by a gator. You know, don't know what else is gonna come from this.
Yeah.
Dylan got out. I'm freaking out. That goes back to my childhood of I was raised in the most dramatic household every single day of my life, and
Yeah.
certain reactions I've had, still working on it to this day. You know what I mean? But yeah, I was freaking out. Definitely did not take it well whatsoever. You know, this was the first thing I had ever solely taken pride in. Like, I know to a lot of people, it's not, oh, you know, you're being immature.
But as somebody who lives, I mean, to a
building
high
truck.
schooler or college, you know, you're right out of high school, out of college. That is your biggest, most expensive worldly possession at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Well, I
and
remember, it's so funny.
and that's your means of freedom. You know what I mean? Like, that's
Absolutely.
how you get out of your house
Control
and
your
go
own
do
destiny.
shit. That's how you get to work. That's how you get to college. That's how you identify with the vehicle that you have at that time.
And
All of
that's
us
what
did.
meant so much to me was I had my first job down there. Me, Cody, and Cy were working at Miami Iceman doing ice carvings. I failed art class in elementary school,
Yeah.
and we were carving ice.
Yep. On machinery.
Chainsaws.
Dude, those stories, Cody cracks me up with those stories.
Oh my gosh, that was an amazing time.
The spicy McChickens.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
I'll never eat one again.
You guys used to eat so many spicy McChickens.
Yeah, it would turn your shit red.
Yeah.
Red. Not a shade of red. Torino red.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't do it. I'm talking like 8 or 9 McChickens at a time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you guys.
we were so hungry.
What was that? That was when we were in the 250 plus.
Oh, what?
Or was it the 200 plus club or 250 plus club?
The 200 plus club.
200 plus club.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get out of that club. I was actually thinking about that this morning. I was like, wow, Jake was the one who like termed that. I'm trying to get out of that club. I have not been under 200 pounds since I've been an adult. I got close. I got 206, and I'm gonna try.
awesome,
I'm gonna try and get under
awesome.
200.
I was so happy and proud of you for taking the initiative, for losing the weight, for not only losing weight, but for getting in great shape as well. I'm 10 times more proud of you for maintaining. It's so much more difficult, as proven, to do than to lose weight. I have lost a total of 800 pounds in my life. The problem is I've gained 900.
It's funny, but it's not funny. Just the way you're delivering it. But I've gained 900.
And we'll start with like a base of like 240.
A small cow that you have gained and lost.
My whole life. Nobody has fluctuated like at least that I know.
Do you know who Ethan Suplee is?
I've heard of him.
Actor. Do you remember the movie? Or you ever seen My Name Is Earl? The TV show. No. What about Without a Paddle?
Sorry.
You've never seen Without a Paddle?
No.
It's one of the greatest movies of all time.
Sounds like we're having movie night.
It's one of the greatest movies of all time. But Ethan Suplee is he was the brother in My Name Is Earl. Let me just Google him real quick. Long story short. Oh, hold up. Did I get a phone call? Let me see. 1 second. I might be waiting on something. Well, let me go check something. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Somehow we're adults. Do.
Sorry. Had to go deal with that. I noticed we had a missed phone call. All right. Ethan Suplee. Let me pull him up. I swear he's a famous actor, and he lost a shit ton.
You show me a picture of him. I might recognize him.
Suplee. Yeah. Because he did the same thing as you. He had lost...
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ethan Suplee. He played the brother. He played the brother in My Name Is Earl. He played either the brother or cousin, but he was like always played a stupid fat dude. I mean, that's essentially what
I've seen something with him. I can't remember.
he played. He played a stupid fat dude in Without a Paddle. He played the brother or cousin of another fat dude who was aggressive, and they grew pot in the woods. It was hilarious. Hilarious movie if you've never seen it.
Okay.
Highly recommend. It's probably top 5 or 10 movies of all time for me. Without
Really?
a Paddle was hilarious because it's friends. It was a group of 4 dudes that one of the 4 dudes, like they basically, they all split up. They were best friends in high school and like all throughout their lives, and then they became adults. And I mean, it's a fucking so many people can relate, but they stopped hanging out as much as they used to. They moved to other states. One became a doctor. The other one's like a fucking like dude that likes to go to biker bars and shit like that. And like they all just make fun of each other. They're just best friends that haven't seen each other in years. One of them dies, and so they all come together for his funeral. And they're like, hey, like we should go. Like there was a treasure hunt that they used to joke about when they were kids. And he's like, we should go on this thing, or like, because they basically found out that the buddy that died was looking for this treasure hunter, or this he was being a treasure hunter or something like that for this one guy. And they're like, we should go finish out what Billy was doing. And then they go on a fucking treasure hunt in the woods, and they're just, it would be like if, remember our group in like high school, like if our group started hanging out again, like fucking to go do something because somebody died. Like it's
very
like watching
similar.
that. It's like watching that.
It's very similar. The concept of having such a close-knit friend group, and I believe we still all love and care about each other the same as we always have. But
think about it.
Somehow we become adults.
Bro, I'm telling you.
Right.
It's a good ass name for a podcast.
It is.
But I mean it's for real. I mean you literally like, we used to hang out all the fucking time. All the time. The Civic, don't forget about the Civic. Jeez. But just going back to what you said, you've lost a bunch of weight and gained it all back. So you said that the hardest part was just maintaining. What?
God.
So I think this is the biggest difference between how I've done it and how most people do it. So a lot of people they can delay gratification for a long time, and then they lose the weight and they go, okay, cool, I can stop doing that now. I never like stopped doing what it took for me to lose weight. I still run, I still lift weights, just try and stay active, whether it's playing basketball or doing jiu-jitsu or any of that shit. And I think that's been the biggest important thing for me.
I've said before, and I'll say it again all day, even at being out of shape again right now, is your physicality is 100% a reflection of your mindset. 100%. It's all in the mind. It has nothing to do with the outside. It's
a side effect. I always say it's a side effect.
100%.
It's a side effect of I mean, I think physically, and there are circumstances to this that change, based upon health, like hormone levels is one of those things it's hard to deal with, but 9 times out of 10, you deserve to look like exactly like you look like, pretty much. Yep. There's obviously genetics play a part in that too. Some people are skinny, some people, they can consume calories like nobody's business, and they can't burn calories for shit, but people that are in great shape, for the most part, are because they take that as a priority.
Right.
And then
and whether you could be naturally skinny, but that doesn't mean you're in shape. That doesn't mean
skinny fat.
You're healthy.
Yep.
Do you have a better chance of living longer than an obese person? Yes.
Maybe. Organ failure's a thing. I'm being serious. Yeah. How many skinny people that have fucking type 2 diabetes? Or whatever the types are. I don't know. But yeah.
I'll learn it when I get it.
Stop. But I think because you did like a low carb diet for a long time, and you lost a shit ton of weight.
Are you talking about in 2020? Like
I think it was in high school.
Oh, back then.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the base of what we're talking. Like, which time of me losing weight are we talking about? I remember the first diet I ever went on was in 6th grade. I lost 40 pounds to get to 220.
In
the 6th grade. I wore an adult XL in 5th grade.
Jeez.
I don't have it anymore, but I had my Hugo Schmidt 5th grade shirt that I wore to school every Friday. It's an adult XL.
Wow.
That's what I wore. I've always been big. I've always also been very active. That was my favorite thing to do out of anything in the world prior to that accident was run. Because everyone was so surprised when I ran. I mean, on high school.
What did we call you? Athletically tubby?
Athletically obese.
Athletically tubby.
Athletically obese. Yeah. I in high school, I was 295 pounds running a 5 flat 40 at 16 years old. You don't want to get in front of me.
Chugga, 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 chugga. The Jake train's coming.
Yeah. But real quick, that's what happened in the accident. You have so much adrenaline going, and the cops came. The tow truck had to get the truck out of the water. He had to get in there and hook it up and everything. And
That's terrifying in and of itself.
yeah,
You're a tow
I
truck
did
driver.
not want to be him. I can't believe I became a tow truck driver after that for a little bit. I never thought about that.
I forgot you did that.
Yeah, but I was fine. Like, they wanted to take somebody to the hospital. We were all perfectly fine. Went to bed, traumatized. Woke up, couldn't move. Could not move a muscle. It was so much pain. Ended up messing up my back and neck in that accident.
No idea how.
I guess just from the tossing around.
I wonder if when you rolled, if you just basically dolphin dived into the roof. You know what I mean? If all of a sudden,
on camera,
if all of a sudden, that would be funny. I mean, to you, it would be.
it would.
But like, I mean, all of a sudden, up became down and down became up, and then, I mean, just yeet straight into the ceiling. I mean,
Yeah.
imagine if you landed on the top of your head, falling into the ground. That's gonna fuck either your neck or your back up or both.
What do they call that move on Ridiculous? The scorpion.
Yeah.
When you scorpion.
Oh, cool.
Maybe that's what I did.
Yeah, very possible.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel good.
Yeah, but I'm very thankful to be the only one that was
Dylan was fine.
really affected. He had some after effects. We haven't gone into great detail about it. He was the only other one that wasn't perfectly fine. The three guys in the bed were no scratch, just
Untouched.
nothing.
Shook up, but that was it.
Yeah. Me and Dylan was a little affected. I guess I got the brunt. I was also on the side that slammed against the ground. And actually, that's when I lost consciousness. Because my head slammed against the window.
Did you break the window? Honest question.
I got a big hard head, but no, I did not break the window.
I just imagine.
They said I got a 2 herniated discs in my back, one on my neck, and a stage 3 concussion from the accident.
What does stage 3 concussion mean?
It sounds worse than stage 1 and 2. That's pretty much all I know about it.
It fluffs it when you say
As
it.
if I wasn't already fucked in the
You can't
head.
just say I have a concussion. I had a fucking stage 3 concussion.
Yeah, make it
motherfucker.
sound worse.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Right. That's literally how it feels. It's like, what does that mean? I don't know.
Like stage 3
It could be the most mild of concussions. I have no idea.
We put a stage 3 cam in my head. Is that what happened?
Stage 3 turbo.
Now
dude.
it's all whoppy as if it wasn't that before.
Jesus. Interesting. Yeah. So your back's been fucked since.
Only gotten worse. And
Really?
yeah, they had me on all kinds of medicine for it, and then you realize the day you don't have that medicine that you
Right.
can't move a muscle.
And you're right back to square one.
So why? And it was like narcotics and painkillers they had me on. It was.
Were you terrified about getting addicted?
No, I took it as prescribed. But what's funny is I ended up finding out that I was addicted to it. Like, not in like a getting messed up kind of way, but my body was physically addicted to it because if I didn't have it,
You started to get
I
ill.
could not move. In the morning, I'd have to wake up an hour before I needed to get up because I had to lay in bed and take the medicine before I could move muscle. There's people with that can't walk, kind of deal. It affects everyone a little differently, but I ended up discovering that if I just didn't take the medicine at all, that I'd be in far less pain than if I was taking it and then didn't have it. Because and then the reason for that is your body is not used to that amount of pain. So if you just get it used to the pain, it's 10 times better than taking the painkillers and then not having them. Because you know what I mean? Like the painkillers mask the pain that is there and will always be there. So I was 19 years old. Obviously, did not want to get back surgery at that time.
Have you had back surgery?
Yeah, last year.
Did it do anything?
It did a little bit. I mean, because like I said, I ended up just making it so much worse. I ended up with 8 herniated discs total.
But you said 2 and 1.
Yeah, that's what it was to start with. And as we are adults per se, yeah, 2 of my backs, or 2 of my neck, 6 of my back total.
Wow. How'd that happen?
As we're adults and we have to work for a living, and
You slipped more. Well,
most
I guess
jobs require physicality,
I'm assuming that having those other 2, you put even more pressure on the other ones and caused that shit to happen.
Yep, it's a snowball effect pretty much, and
Wow.
just working over the years, and I was doing heavy hauling all of 2021, and we December 19th we were taking vacation to go on a week-long cruise. And the morning of, I'm in the shower, and it's just a normal morning, getting ready to go on a cruise, about to have a fun time, like excited as ever. I bend over. If I, do you want me to be completely honest as to how this happened and a little,
Go.
Okay, inappropriate, I guess. I was doing some man grooming.
Okay.
To get ready for a good time on the cruise with my lady.
Okay.
And that's when it happened.
Oof.
I bent over, razor in hand. I'm sure you get the picture.
Yeah, I think everyone's
And
painting a picture.
my L45 snapped in half, going against both my sciatic nerves. And my legs buckled from underneath me, and it's the biggest pain I've ever experienced in my life. Only one before that was probably breaking my pinky toe in half. But
Jesus Christ.
that's terrible. Don't recommend it. I started like screaming, like in pain, and then I need an alley for help. Like, what in the world just happened? She, knowing who I am, you probably understand this, thought I was completely joking and starts laughing from the living room. I just hear her laughing.
You're the most not serious person.
Curse who I am as a person. And like, she took it after probably 30 seconds, like, oh, something might be wrong. And she came in. I couldn't support myself. It was really bad.
That's terrifying. I can only imagine how she felt in that moment.
And we're supposed to get on a boat in an hour and a half to go to the Caribbean.
Like, you're getting showered to leave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything was packed. We were leaving in 10 minutes.
Wow.
So she's like, we have to go to the hospital. I'm like, we're going on a cruise. Like I said, I went years and years without any kind of medicine, whether it was narcotics, painkillers, muscle relaxers, whatever. It was bad enough to where I went to my grandpa's house, got a muscle relaxer got a couple muscle relaxers from him. I was like, I'll take this. I'll take some ibuprofen. I'll get in the hot tub on the boat. I'll be good tomorrow. And by that evening, I couldn't walk.
So you're on the boat now. You're on a 5-day cruise?
7.
You hear the story.
I think it
Do you
was,
hear the story as it comes out of your mouth? I'm assuming. Okay, so you hurt your back in the shower, dude. If it makes me fall, I'm going to the hospital.
Buckle. Done.
You're stubborn as fuck.
I paid good money for that cruise. I had been.
You didn't buy the refundable tickets, did you?
That heavy hauling was a job. That's what did it.
So
that was 70 to 80-hour work weeks.
And moving chain and shit like that.
Non-stop moving half-inch chain, binders, getting in and out of the truck 50 times a day, loading and unloading all different types of equipment. I mean, I'm not going to say it's the hardest job in the world. I had a lot of fun doing it. It definitely, most people wouldn't be able to, especially with the hours. I would get home at 8 p.m. and my boss would be like, all right, good work today. Spend some time with your family. I need you to be in Miami at 7 a.m. I have to leave at 1:30 in the morning. Because if you leave at, dude, like if you give yourself the 4 hours it takes to Miami, right? And you leave at, say, 3, you're going to hit traffic.
8
You're not
a.m.
going to get there
traffic.
till 9.
Yeah.
It's like you're either getting there at 6 or you're getting there at 9, and you cannot
Or
get there.
fuck you. That's how Miami is. Yeah.
I know how to drive in Miami.
Yeah.
Johnson Wheels in Miami.
Yeah.
Learned that lesson very, very quickly.
You got to be an asshole.
Yeah.
drive like an
so you're
asshole.
telling me to spend time with my family. I have 4 hours before I have to get up.
Hi, guys. All right, I'm leaving.
I don't even have time to sleep.
It's almost like you said it as a joke.
Yeah, so it was just nonstop. And what the doctor basically said afterwards was like, the next time I bent over was when it was going to happen. It just happened to be in that embarrassing, quite humorous moment that it happened in. The feather that broke the camel's back.
Wow.
Perfect example, actually.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. So
And then, so how did that cruise go? I mean, that begs the question.
Man.
Next thing you know, I couldn't walk.
that was with Allie, my lady, Garrett, and his dad. And I can't express my thankfulness and gratitude to all three of them I was so embarrassed. I was so mad at myself. I was feeling every emotion there was. And
Well, you didn't know. You didn't know it was going to turn out where you couldn't fucking walk. Had you
I knew
wouldn't
I
have
was
gone.
in pain when we were getting on the boat. The whole time I'm standing completely crooked. And like it's not something I can control. And like I said, I didn't know exactly what was going on, but it was the broken discs up
Broken
against,
what? You did what? What happened when you fell? Sorry.
But it was the fragments sitting up against my sciatic nerves, and I wasn't in
So you
control.
actually broke the fucking bone.
Well, the disc isn't a bone per se. It's
It's like squishy.
I'm not a doctor. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the squishy. It's the squishy of your back. But it holds everything together.
Yeah, it's very important. I didn't realize it could fragment though.
Yeah, me neither. I found out the hard way. They helped me so much. I ended up in a wheelchair that night,
Really?
or the next morning. I didn't leave.
Wheel me up to the bar. I need a drink.
I didn't leave the cabin the whole next day. I couldn't doing any. You learn very quickly how much your back controls every single part of your body.
Yeah.
I couldn't roll over.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like your shoulder. You ever had a shoulder injury? So I had a pretty bad shoulder injury. I thought I broke my collarbone, and dude, I couldn't breathe. A deep breath hurt because you realize like how much this shit's like connected to your chest and like intertwined. And like putting a shirt on, dude, I mean, just putting on a button-up shirt, it was like wincing in pain.
the best way I can describe it, like if I needed to roll it, like reposition myself in the bed, I couldn't do it. And it wasn't the movement of my leg that hurt. It was me trying to move my leg that hurt. So Allie would literally have to grab my leg and like move it for me. Like I was done. I couldn't do a damn thing.
Yeah.
At all. It was terrifying. And
So how miserable was that 7-day cruise, or did you end up having to like get off? Or?
it was as absolutely good as it could have been for the situation because of them. 100% because of them. You know, I learned who Allie was as a person in my life on that cruise very quickly. My child was conceived on that cruise. Which I fully claim. I couldn't move. She claims I could hip thrust. But she took advantage of me, did she not? Did she not? I always tell her because of that, if she ever leaves me, I'm not paying child support. This was not my choice. This is all on you.
All the thoughts that I've had since you mentioned that.
Christmas Eve.
How can you trust somebody who fucks a handicapped person? Takes advantage of a handicapped person.
God bless her for it.
She raped you.
Hashtag me too.
That's not funny, but it's kind of fucked up. Oh, my sense of humor is so... You're partly responsible for how fucked up my sense of humor is. I just want you to know that.
I am.
Partly. Yeah, because I hung out with all you at a very impressionable age. I hung out. Because you guys... How old are you? 28? 29?
28.
I'm 26 in a month. This month I'll turn 26. Like, you guys are all my brother's age.
Yeah.
And I started hanging out with you guys in high school. I fucking couldn't even remember. I mean, because, I know all my friends had first lunch and I had second lunch. None of my friends had second lunch. I didn't know where the fuck to sit at lunch. It honestly came down to, like, if I had my friends in that lunch, I don't know if we would have ever been friends like that. You know what I mean?
So instead you went to culinary.
Well,
what
culinary was different. No, culinary was different because remember we all sat in. I don't know if you were a part of first lunch, so but like culinary made me like get to learn you, and you were friends with Cody and Wyatt and all them. But like I sat with all of them, and I ended up like being a part of that group. And it was mainly because I didn't have friends in that lunch period, so I didn't want to be the weird kid at lunch sitting by himself, or go sit with a group of people where you don't feel included. Or you feel like the one outcast.
I still can't believe how different you look today.
Yeah.
than back then.
Yeah, it was definitely a change, huh?
Absolutely, man.
High school was not my peak.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither.
It was the peak back strength you had.
I look younger now than I did then. I've been told that by so many people.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to. I honestly haven't thought about what you even looked like in high school.
I'll tell you
You
this.
look like Jake.
Barely a Homo sapien.
What does that mean?
Barely.
What does that mean?
I looked like I was from somewhere else, man. That's one of the ugliest people ever. I remember we went to, I went to Johnson & Wales for like a tour to get to know kind of like what you were going to be doing.
Like people do in Iraq, right? You went on a tour.
It's a little different.
I'm fucking with you. Sorry.
Kind of the same kind of people.
Too much coffee. I've had too much coffee. My brain is on firing on.
This isn't filled with coffee, is it?
Why are you asking questions, Jake? No, it's just water. But could you imagine? Just drinking a half gallon of Kool-Aid.
It's one of the best clips.
Kool-Aid.
I don't know if this is copyright.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. We were making a reference to another podcast. It's really funny. Sorry. Two Bears, One Cave with Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer. I'm going to go see his movie tonight.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go see The Machine.
I want to see it.
Dude, I'm going tonight. I already bought the tickets.
Did you see who plays his dad?
Yeah, I forget what that actor's
Mark
name is.
Hamill. Fucking Luke Skywalker, bro. Plays Bert's dad.
It's not Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Oh, it is Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
He is the old Luke Skywalker in the most recent ones. Oh, that's where I know him from.
But he's also the original Luke Skywalker. It's the same actor. You didn't know that?
Bro, I forgot.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I was fucking Luke Skywalker.
There's only one person that's ever been Luke Skywalker.
No shit.
Yeah. But anyway, at that time, I went down.
He looks
for a
like
tour.
Bert Kreischer's dad. Like, you know what I mean? Like in the fucking previews I've seen for the movie.
Have you ever seen videos of him with his dad? And his dad has the same laugh as him. Like,
his laugh is fucking, especially because he tries to talk through it. He's like,
I went to see him in person a month ago or so.
Bert's dad.
Bert Kreischer.
I'm fucking with you, Jake.
At the Amway Center in Orlando. Shout out that place. Worst place ever. Burn it to the ground.
Or you talking about Orlando or the Amway Center?
Yes. We sat like higher. I was like $40 to see Bert Kreischer. 100%.
$40?
Yeah, per
That's
person.
cheap as shit,
It's
dude.
like $38 actually.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
If I was invited back to do the same thing at the Amway Center, you couldn't pay me $40 to do it. And I love Bert Kreischer.
Did I tell you I tried to buy tickets to? He was at the Strass Center, which the Strass Center
the night before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Strass Center was gorgeous. I looked at nosebleed seats. I mean, it's a theater. It's not a stadium, but it's a theater.
Yeah.
The cheapest seats were $180 a pop. And you would have probably rather paid that than go to the Amway Center.
Bro, I'd pay double.
He's so fucking funny though.
He's awesome. The worst part about the Amway Center was the sound. Every time, because he had like 3 different comedians with him, and every time they would talk, it would repeat itself 4 times throughout the arena. Like every single word was repeated 4 times because that's how. And at that it was distorted, which obviously I'm an audio head.
Yeah.
And
nothing pisses you off more than going to hear something, to see and hear something, and it's terrible.
I hate distortion. I think
That's why I picked the movie theater that we're going to tonight. It's a nice ass movie theater. I'll tell you off air where we're going, but it's fucking real nice.
I swear they were using DS18 speakers at the Amway Center. That's how bad it was. Oh,
I don't know what that means.
it's the worst speaker brand that everybody loves. And it's so loud, yeah. But what song are you playing? I have no idea what it is. It's terrible. So not only was it so echoey in there, and then the speakers were so off timed, and it was repeating itself. But then it was just you couldn't hear anything anybody was saying. It was awful.
You didn't focus. It's hard to focus on what they're saying because how it comes across is so terrible.
The only thing I could laugh at was when Bert was laughing at himself, because there's no mistaking that. That's not distorted.
Yeah. Well, even if it was, it sounds the same. What was I going to tell you? Jeez. Oh, so I can understand that. So as somebody who has a podcast, like, I mean, a lot of people are just listening to this. You know what I mean? They might be driving somewhere.
That's what I do.
Just listening. But like, I mean, I'm the kind of person too. I also like to watch them if I can.
Yeah.
But not always can I do that. I'm fucking driving or cooking something. But I mean, a lot of times I'll just set my phone up and just watch it whenever something happens that I need to see. I think it adds a good element to it. But so much of this is how good is the audio file that I'm listening to. I mean, that's why I bought the microphones. I mean, technically, we could do this with just the camera audio.
I'm impressed.
But just the camera audio sucks ass. So, I bought all this stuff to make it sound really good.
No offense, camera.
And, yeah. But so, like, we've been having some issues with the audio recording. Just like an SD card issue. We're trying to figure it out. But one of the previous recorded podcasts that hasn't been posted yet, but I'm sure by the time this one gets posted, it'll be out. But we had to use the camera audio completely. And we're trying to like hype it up. And the reason being is like we have the audio from the microphones, but I want to say it's like every 3 minutes or something like that, the audio cuts out for 5 seconds on the microphone. So you'd have to splice in the audio from the camera. And I was thinking about it. I'm like that would just be impossible to listen to. Like you'd be like, oh wow, this really good sound. Why the fuck did it just change to like the way it sounds? Because the way I think about it, well, you have headphones in, you're listening to it, and you have the volume set a certain way, and then it changes how it hears and it sounds. And it almost like you can like it's hard to pay attention to what people are saying if the audio quality keeps changing back and forth.
Right. That's
annoying. So I said I would rather have it one consistent. Like the audio on the camera, we can juice it up to where it sounds good and stuff like that. But there's still a limit. It's not going to sound as good as these microphones do. And I told Colton, I was like, just take the audio file that's from the camera and just make it sound as good as you can. But at least it's consistent. But it would be annoying as fuck to have something switching back and forth because at that point, like you're saying, like you just kind of answered what I was thinking, which is just it would be hard to focus on what they're saying. Because I'd be too focused on how shitty it sounds.
The whole time.
Yep.
The whole time I was there.
Yep.
It is what it is.
Yeah. You wish you hadn't gone? Because you probably have no idea what the jokes were.
I definitely appreciate being able to see Bert.
Bro, can I ask this question? How did it sound when Bert took his shirt off?
Oh, the place
went
erupted.
Fucking
the place
wild.
Erupted. And then, of course, he ended it with the machine story.
That's the best. That's like the fucking. That's like being on stage, Leonard Skinner, and you're like watching them, and they're like, "All right, guys, have a good night." And you're like, "Encore, encore," and they come out, and I'm as free as a bird.
It's like as soon as his skit, stand was done, in quotes, he just immediately kind of very smoothly rolls into the first line of the machines.
So when I was 21, or when I was 20, I got involved in the Russian mafia, and this is the story.
Yes.
And just the whole place,
and the whole place erupts. You know what I mean? And you can't. I almost know every word of it, pretty much. So
it's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
And people have never seen Bert Kreischer, the Machine story. God, it's so fucking. It's so good. It's so good.
The funniest part about it is how true it is.
Yeah.
There's people like. The thing that really blew that story up was one of his classmates on Twitter the next day confirming every word that he said.
Yeah.
And how true it was.
Yeah, because he told it on Joe Rogan's podcast.
He's a real motherfucker.
He's hilarious.
He can't hide.
He juices up some stories sometimes, but it's funny.
But he doesn't do it trying to deceive people. He's already deceived himself.
He's just a good storyteller. He's a great storyteller. Have you heard? I heard him on a podcast talking about his wife was telling Snoop Dogg a story, and he was like, "You're ruining this." It was like the first time he met Snoop Dogg, and she was like trying to tell this like really good story, but she was trying to like tell the story herself, and she's not a good storyteller. So he was like, "Oh my God, stop! Just let me do this." And he just goes and he just is like he's like, "So what if it's not 100% accurate? Even if it's 90% accurate, it's like the 10% makes it even fucking better." It's like. That's how you tell a good story. And It just cracks me up.
Yeah.
He's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
He's so funny. He's a laugh. I can't wait to see this movie. Is it? Oh, no, you haven't seen it. I wonder how what I heard when he went on Joe Rogan to promote the the movie, what he said was, he said that he wants to bring back like those old school comedies that weren't scared to be funny. And I support that. Like, I like movies like fucking Step Brothers, Talladega Nights, Superbad. You know what I mean? Like, I love those kind of movies, and like I want more of those back. Like there hasn't been a good comedy movie since like fucking what was the last one? Probably The Dictator, or what was the one? It's not The Dictator. The one where they pretended to be Kim Jong Un. What's the name of that movie? You know what I'm talking
The
about?
Interview?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't think like a good comedy has come out since that one.
I don't know, bro. We went and saw Fast 10 the other night.
Oh my god, that's a comedy unintentionally.
I think it is intentional. I think what people don't understand is from the 5th movie on, they are action comedies. I was laughing at least half of that movie, just cracking up. It's so funny.
Oh, sorry. Let me cut you off, Jake. I'll be right back.
Somehow we're adults.
What the fuck were we just talking about?
Fast and Furious
Yes.
is proof, without a shadow of a doubt, that as long as you have family and 87 Dodge Chargers, you can accomplish anything.
I got so fucking tired of that.
See, a lot of people do, but I think a lot of
Rest
people
in
don't
peace,
understand.
Paul Walker.
Yeah.
When he exited this earth, those movies exited my life. I've watched, I think, because 7 was the last one that he was in, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I watched 8, and I was like, this is just, I'm tired of it. It's tired. I can't blame them for making it, though, because they make so much fucking money, especially overseas. I mean, that's really why they make them, is because the people overseas, they're like, oh, America. No, seriously, the China market, I mean, that was probably a little, I probably shouldn't have done that. Oh, well. But, like, no, they legitimately, like, they do really well overseas. They'll make, like, $50 million here, but they'll make $150 million overseas.
Really?
Yeah, it's something stupid like that. Obviously,
know
no one
this.
can quote me on this, but, like, they do very well overseas.
Huh.
That's what I heard about it, because I literally, like, people type, this is not an unknown subject people talk about as far as, like, why the fuck are they still making these movies? And they're a cash cow. If I tell you, hey, we can send a car into space, completely unrealistic. The Rock slows down a car, like what is it? Vin Diesel pulls a helicopter in with his fucking bicep.
So funny. There's so many moments in the new movie that are so beyond. You know, obviously, they've jumped cars between buildings in Dubai. They send a car to space. You know what I mean? Like that.
Which makes no sense.
It doesn't. But if you can find the humor in it and know that they're just gonna keep doing this,
Yeah.
like
It's like they're doing what Call of Duty did, but they're getting a different response. You remember how Call of Duty was like Black Ops 2 and then it was Advanced Warfare? And you remember when they put the trailer out for Advanced Warfare, it got more thumbs down on YouTube. I don't think they do thumbs down anymore because of that video. But they got like more thumbs down than it did thumbs up. Like everybody who watched it was like, fuck this game. Because they didn't want it. They didn't want to fucking be in space suits with jetpacks and shooting laser beams at each other. Like, no, it's fucking stupid. If we wanted that, we'd play Star Wars. We like Star Wars. Fuck that.
yeah,
Don't be
There's
Star
a new
Wars.
Star Wars movie or Star Wars game coming out that looks badass, like a free roam kind of.
Oh, open world? That'd be fucking
Yeah.
tits, dude.
Yeah,
That would be tits. Like a GTA of fucking Star Wars.
Yeah.
That would be fucking cool.
bro. So I don't know if you know, John Cena is in the new Fast and Furious movies. He plays Dom's brother.
But I'm confused. How do you know he's in the movie? Jake, you can't see him. Just say it. And you're like, oh, I guess he must be in here.
It's just
Where is he?
there's just camo shorts floating everywhere.
I hope somebody got that joke that's listening to the
He
podcast.
did, spoiler real quick, he did a slow motion attitude adjustment
Wait, hold.
to this guy through the floor of the original house, like through the second floor onto the first floor, attitude adjustment, his signature move.
Can you explain? Because I didn't watch wrestling growing up. What is an attitude adjustment?
It used to be called something else. I can't remember what it is, but he like you basically pick him up like by the throat and then just slam him down
On their back.
on his back, and that's one of his signature moves. I'm freaking out in the middle of this theater as if John Cena just won WrestleMania all over again. This is one of the greatest moments. But out of
This
all
is the
things
most
they've
disrespectful, respectful thing I could ever say to you, okay? You're wrestling's audience.
done, I used to love it as a kid. I
I'm
loved
fucking with
it.
you.
The last thing I'll say about it, the most unreal out of all the moments in those movies, the most unreal one is when Francis Ngannou punches Han in the face and he eats it.
Wait, Francis Ngannou? The heavyweight.
He's in the 8th movie.
Jesus. He's in the 8th movie?
I think the 8th, yeah. Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Punches Han directly in the face.
Who
Who was
was
supposed to be dead.
Han is the
Asian guy.
From Tokyo Drift.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Supposed to be dead because he dies in Tokyo Drift.
Correct.
Spoiler alert.
Correct. Well, that
movie's been
came
out for a long
05, so not
Yeah,
really.
it's a movie like, oh my god, my
That movie
ears.
like fits in between like 6 and 7 or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but he eats a punch from Francis Ngannou in the face, and I'm like,
It's possible.
dude, I believed the space before that. The space car.
It's possible to eat a punch from Francis Ngannou. You just have to be an actual punching bag. That's the only way you can do that. And even then, you're gonna fucking be like, oh.
Even then, there's a high chance.
Punching bag goes unconscious. Hits the ground. There's no way. There's no way you can take a direct punch from Francis Ngannou and still. Like, I feel like you don't remember video games like the old school like martial art like karate and like games where you'd hit him and it'd be like -2 XP that floats out of him. Like, I feel like Francis Ngannou is the human equivalent. Like, he hits you and like brain cells. It's like -1,000 brain cells. It's like, boom.
Looks like a bad guy from Dragon Ball Z.
Bro, he is like, if you put the one eye thing over him, like, you know, the sunglasses where it's like a blue eye.
Yeah.
I forget what that guy was called. But he literally looks like he could be a fucking villain in Dragon Ball Z. I never thought about that. Bro, how sad is it? Do you watch UFC?
A little bit.
How sad is it that John Jones and him will not end up fighting under the UFC banner? I hope that they still end up fighting.
Yeah.
But that might be one of the biggest tragedies. That one bothers me more than Tony Ferguson and Khabib not fighting. Because Khabib and Tony Ferguson not fighting is just like one of those ones. It's like, well, when they were both in their prime, that would have been a great fight to see, and it almost happened several times. But John Bones Jones, the absolute GOAT. Khabib is definitely in the GOAT conversation too, but John Jones has went up a weight class.
Yeah.
But not just up a weight class. Because up a weight class to most people in fighting is you go from 170 to 185, or you go from 185 to 205.
No,
he went from 205 to a division that stops at 265.
Right.
Or 275. I think it's 265. That in and of itself is a big jump in weight class.
Yeah.
And to absolutely handle, without taking a punch, then the guy who has the I think he had the interim belt at the time, meaning he's the second baddest motherfucker in that division.
Right.
And John Jones said, "You can't hold my jockstrap," and choked him in fucking a minute and a half, 2 minutes. It was insane. Did you watch that fight?
I might have. That's part of the concussion.
Bro, it was insane.
Short-term memory loss.
He took Cyril Gahn and just made him look like he's never done martial arts before.
I watched that. Yeah, I saw that.
It was insane.
Yeah.
John Jones was untouched.
Yeah.
He was sweating off of adrenaline.
Nobody entertains me more than Sean O'Malley. Nobody. I love him so much.
Sugar Sean, the Sugar Show.
Sugar Sean.
I'm trying to think who might. I think the most entertaining fighter for me. I mean, Conor is
Bro,
so
when he
entertaining.
Snapped his leg
Oh, that was terrible.
and acted like he just.
God, he's just yelling at them. The doctor stoppage. I'll keep going. The doctor stoppage. Don't you put that I gave up. The doctor stoppage. He like for freaking out.
You're acting like
He's
you
like
stubbed your toe.
Joe
at
Rogan
most.
walks over and interviews him. He's like, "Your wife is in me DMs." He's still talking shit.
His leg is in half.
Sitting on the ground, unable to make it to the call, and
I
just
can't
yelling at
stand-
Dustin Poirier. It's so funny.
Bro, I can watch videos of like people in the Mexican cartel cutting other people's heads off.
Okay,
I cannot watch people snapping their legs. I don't know what it is.
Jake, I should have never been told what you just told me, because I am going to flood your Instagram.
This is what
with
everyone
jujitsu.
freaking does that I tell this
Everybody,
to.
anybody listening.
Oh my gosh.
This is Jake Suarez. I'll find his Instagram handle. I'll call it out at the end of the podcast. But
I wish I was Jake. Why did I say that?
Yeah, you're
Why did I do that?
You're stupid. So I wish I was Jake on Instagram. Send this man every jiu-jitsu break when people don't tap. Dude, the worst one for me to watch is the Kimura. When people don't tap to a Kimura. So a Kimura is like a shoulder lock where you like bend their arm backwards. And dude, the snap, because you just see their arm go a direction. It's like you could high five the back of your head backwards. Like it's the nastiest noise because you always hear like boom. Oh, dude, it's so
Snapping limbs,
blood curdling.
Is the worst. Oh my gosh, Jesse over here sends me almost daily videos of spiders.
That's
And I'm
criminal.
Like, you are the worst person. I remember
Deathly afraid of spiders.
I have a great story with her at what was it?
Bitch, it's your story.
Grad
What
Bash.
was it?
Grad Bash.
Oh, sorry.
I was thinking like Rock the Universe, something at Universal.
Yeah.
Grad Bash. We're at Grad Bash, Universal Studios.
What's Grad Bash? I know what it is. I'm asking for people who might not know.
It's the trip that seniors take for your graduation.
It's like your final field trip.
Celebrate and everything. Yeah.
I just got itch. Continue. I'm listening.
What we're done?
Oh, now I can't hear you.
Cliffhanger?
Anymore. I can't hear you anymore. I took my headphones off. I can't hear you anymore.
We're in line to the Harry Potter. This whole story takes place at the Harry Potter ride. We're in line. This may be cut out of the podcast. It may stay in. It goes famous. I don't know. And we like kind of give each other a look, and at the same time, that's like this video had been out and went viral, and we had like been joking about it before, and we started singing that line. We want some pussy. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Throwback, dude. I forgot. No.
Okay.
You're good. Keep going.
So
I marked this as explicit. So.
we're both laughing at it and everything, and we start doing it a little louder. And by the third time, there's people around us that have joined in. Within 20 seconds, the entire Harry Potter line has now erupted in what we were singing. The teachers are standing there like,
How do we manage the situation?
you could tell some of the cool teachers, they were laughing.
Somehow we're
Laughing.
I'm gonna bleep that name too. That's fine. It's fine. You're good.
She's standing right next to us. She couldn't believe what was going on. She's a principal now.
Yeah. That's funny as fuck.
But most teachers are like, oh, this isn't happening. Oh my gosh. It's the whole. It went on for like 2 minutes straight, and we started that whole thing. So then we get to the ride. It's just like a 2-hour wait to tell you how many people were in this line, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You could hear it like we were in the outside section. You could hear it echoing from the inside section.
I just remembered when you were telling me that story, how you made one of. Don't mention names because I don't want to have to remember to bleep this part out too. But do you remember making a racist joke in math class that made the teacher laugh, but he had to suspend you? That's so. Anybody wanted to know, that should be in your bio on Instagram. When people want to know how to describe you, it's like made a racist joke in high school, made the teacher laugh, but got suspended.
I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Me too. Still one of the coolest teachers ever.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Yep.
We get on the ride.
Those are the teachers that make fucking school worth it. It's the other ones that are acting like they've never been in high school before. Okay, they act like Squidward. The Squidward of people are like, oh my god, kids, sit down, pay attention. Let me show you math. It's like, oh, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
No, I want the teachers that's like, yeah, I was in high school once. Yeah, those ones are cool.
Yeah.
Ones that just fucking get it.
Yeah.
They don't treat you like dumbasses, even though we were. You know what I mean?
Both Chef Ken and Chef Paul, amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were.
Chef Ken especially. Not to slight Chef Paul if you're listening. Chef Paul was fucking awesome, but Chef Ken was like
He's by far my favorite podcast that you did.
Yeah, that one was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. He's an awesome guy. I trying to get it back on. Got kids. Chef Ken was just different because Chef Ken he was borderline a teacher. It was like hanging out with your really fucked up uncle. You know what I mean?
I don't think there's a single story I could tell about him that wouldn't affect his life today. So it was he was amazing.
Yeah.
He was amazing. He definitely taught you a real sense of humor.
It was like working in a real restaurant kitchen.
Absolutely.
He wanted you to know what it's like.
Yeah.
It's like going to woodworking shop or like auto shop or something like that, and like trying to talk like civilized humans. Like, that's not what they do in the real world.
Like, Paul really gave a fuck about you, and he tried to help you in life. And Ken didn't give a fuck about anybody, and that's real life. That's what you're gonna get. It's a great example.
This is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Paul's awesome. He's one of my favorite people. The way I described Chef Paul was that he was a huge influence on my life because I wanted to be a lawyer.
You had him longer than I did. He was only there for the last like semester and a half or so.
Yeah, he was there for a year for you guys, but it was like part of a year. Yeah, and then he was there for, 2 years for me. But it was those 2 years was like it was probably the equivalent of like 4 years because I had him basically all day. I had my junior and senior year of high school. I had nothing but culinary classes. I had a bunch of culinary. Yeah, it's what everybody did. Fuck regular classes. I took all my required classes. I'm done, bitch. Yep, done. And I would try and cut out of classes just so I could go to culinary, skip lunch, go to culinary. Like, I would just do whatever I could.
Most people can't claim this. I miss high school so much.
I miss aspects of it, such as like how cool was it that like everyone else is gonna go eat some shit ass school lunch, and you're like, I brought ramen today. Like, I'm making ramen for lunch. So like, I brought leftovers. I'm just gonna reheat my leftovers. Or like, you could just bring ingredients. Half the time we'd just be like, hey Paul, can I steal some eggs? And he'd be like, brother, eggs. Yeah, go for it. You know what I mean? Clean up after yourself, and then you would just hang out in there with your friends.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
The whole concept of everything. The amount of responsibilities that you don't have.
Yeah.
And the ones you do have, you felt overwhelmed at the time.
Yeah.
And now we'd give anything to go back to that.
I always tell kids when I meet a kid who is like 16 or 17, I'm like, hey, this is how I describe it. This is the most amount of freedom for the least amount of responsibility
you will ever have.
Because you're only going to get more freedom, but your responsibility is going to go up at a much faster rate. So, like, I have more freedom now than I had back then, but I have way more responsibility, so I don't utilize that freedom as much.
Right.
Dude, I was hanging out with my friends every day after school. All the time. I mean, that was when you guys were living in Sefner. And we went over there all the time. Yeah. All the time. Like, I literally, like, felt like I was like, oh, it's just, you know, like, we going to Jake's house today again? You know what I mean? Like, that was just what it was.
Yeah.
And,
I forget you're 2 years behind me.
Yeah. Yeah, I was still in high school then.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun, especially when it was just you and Logan living there. That was hilarious. Like, one of my favorite pictures of my buddy Will is when Cody picked him up and flipped him upside down. And Will's no short person. He's been on the podcast before. Will's 6'2", I think.
Yeah.
And Cody's 6'2" as well, but Cody's at that time was way wider.
Yeah.
Still is wider, but Cody's, lost a bunch of weight too. And then flipped Will upside down. It's just a picture I have of just Will being upside down, just tickled pink that he's even like that he's being big maned, and he's a big man.
Yeah, everyone was that was a really good time.
Yeah,
really really good time.
Those were. I wish I could go back and I can't hang out.
That's when the Civic happened.
We need to get on that, but I can't hang out now like I did back then. I know it was so easy back then to just do nothing. Do you remember? You're one of the 3 people that was in this story. Do you remember going to Subway? You know which time I'm talking about too. You've been to Subway thousands of times.
Yeah, especially because it's in every freaking truck stop ever.
But do you remember the Subway that I went with you to? And Cody late at night, and I got a meatball sub. I remember this. Cody remembers this. I don't know if you do, but I'm a big fan of sauce. I like sauces.
Saucy kind of guy.
I like sauces. And I remember, you go to Subway, there's fucking like 15 different sauces you can choose from. And I want to paint this picture for people. I'm at my heaviest. I'm at 285 plus. And I'm starving.
No facial hair.
and like no money too. So we had to go to Subway because it's $5 footlongs. Remember that used to be a thing. It's not anymore. It's $50 footlongs now. But whatever.
Bro,
It's inflation's
the
a
biggest
motherfucker.
lie.
So I got a fucking meatball sub. Still love a Subway meatball sub, but I get it nasty. So it's got tomato sauce already. If you didn't add any sauce to it, it's already messy. I had 4 sauces. It was like ranch, fucking chipotle, mayo, Southwest sauce,
I've never
and then
judged you harder.
creamy chipotle or something. I literally was like, I'm basically eating a soup that they have put on bread and wrapped up like it's a sandwich. And I remember they gave me 2 napkins. I ate and I was starving, so I slammed that sandwich in my face. I have never been more messy eating food in my life. Maybe when I was a toddler, it was close, but dude, I had just sauce. Like it was running down my elbows and like covered my hands and my face. And I remember just sitting there and I was like, I need more napkins. Like those 2 didn't put a dent in it. Those 2 were just to get like they got used just getting them out of the bag. And I'm like,
Right.
well, I need something else now. And I just remember having to go in the bathroom. And Cody's like, you're better suited to just go in the bathroom right now and just rinse off. I took a whore's bath in Subway after eating one of their sandwiches. You don't remember that?
I remember that sub. I don't remember much else of like the actual.
That's the only thing I remember. I don't remember. I just remember going in there.
You doing that
like,
to the meatball sub.
I remember like walking into the bathroom like this, and like Cody, like either you or Cody had to, like get the door for me. That might be a false memory. I don't know, but I just remember like going in there and like turning, like it was one of those automated ones, and I had like water everywhere, like face and everything like that. And I'm like dripping, and I was like, okay, where are the paper towels? I'm like, God damn it, they got the fucking blower thing.
That's the other place we would go down in Miami after we got off work.
Subway.
We would either get 8 to 12 McChickens each, or we'd go to Subway and eat 2 footlongs each.
So I never understood why I was so heavy. Or you guys too, you know? Never made sense. We ate super healthy. There's lettuce on those things. Tell me I'm wrong.
This tomato.
Just tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
I know.
You're very wrong.
Chicken's healthy. They're so good. Dude, I remember in high school, do you remember what a McGangbang is?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, it was just classic. So our high school had the 2 closest restaurants at the time were Burger King and McDonald's, if you dare call them restaurants.
There's a McDonald's every day after high school.
Yeah, because
every day.
We were old enough to have jobs where we were making money, but not enough money to be bougie about what we ate. And I used to I would get 2 McChickens and 2 McDoubles on the dollar menu. So I would spend, and a sweet tea, I'd spend $5.35.
Yep.
And because sales tax at this time for the area was 7%. Yep. So I spent $5.35. This is the fattest thing I'm probably going to say on this podcast too is 2 McDoubles. And we kept the buns. So the way it works is you get a McDouble, you split the 2 burgers. You take the whole McChicken sandwich.
See, that's not how I did it.
You took the bun off.
I took the chicken patty.
Yeah, you were healthy. I took the entire sandwich.
Because I would definitely
wrapper and all. I'm just kidding.
I wasn't healthy about it because I would take the bread and the lettuce and the mayonnaise from the McChicken and dip it in barbecue sauce and eat that first. And then reward myself with the McGangbang afterwards.
Bro, it's amazing that I wasn't heavier at that point. Because I did this all the time. I'd spent an entire paycheck from where I was working at that time on McGangbangs and sweet tea. Or Polar Pops, 44-cent Polar Pops?
Back in the day.
49-cent Polar Pops. What were they? Yeah. And I just remember, so you split it in half, and then you're supposed to just take the chicken patty. That's how you're supposed to do it, and put it between the 2 burgers. I would take the entire sandwich. I paid for it. I'm eating it. And I'd put it between there, and I'd have 2 of those. I mean, that's, 1,500 calories easily?
I haven't done the math.
I don't know, but it was a lot. It was calorically dense meal. And the fattest thing that I could say is that would be my after-school snack.
That's between lunch at school, which wasn't your normal school lunch. It was culinary, real food.
Let me walk you through what my eating habits were in high school. Get to high school. Because high school started at 7:33. Remember?
Yeah.
So at 6:45 when we all get off the bus or we ride up here, we drive up there, We'd all go to breakfast. We'd eat the free breakfast at school, which was never like, oh, it's egg whites and vegetables.
I
It was.
never got there in time for that.
Oh yeah, you were always late.
Always.
And so we would go to school breakfast, and then after breakfast, we'd all have culinary in some type of way, and we'd eat whatever's in culinary. We'd go to lunch. We had second lunch, which is the later one. It was like 1 o'clock when we went to lunch. We would all destroy our lunches. 2 hours later, we're at McDonald's eating 2 McGangbangs and sweet teas. And then we'd all go hang out, like, just for reference, we'd go to Cody's house. And his parents always ate late, so it'd be 9, 10 o'clock.
Oh, the taco salad.
And we would eat dinner at his parents' house. So if you think about it, breakfast, culinary, lunch, after school meal, and dinner, we would have 5 meals a day, each one being like 1,500 calories. I'm just saying, I'm not good at math. I'm pretty good at math, though.
It's bad.
We ate like
It's
shit.
bad.
And that was a normal.
I probably drank more calories worth of sweet tea than I ate.
And remember, during this time, they had vending machines too, and we'd all drink the Blue Mountain Dew, or we'd just get full calorie soda drinks. We were being as unhealthy as we could shove in our face.
Yeah.
And I remember when Michelle Obama
I was just about to say this.
switched the vending machines in schools to be all diet and like bottled water and like all the shit that nobody wanted. They lost a ton of money.
Yep.
Pepsi lost a ton of money in revenue when they did that. Because I'm like, if I can't get my cherry Pepsi or my blue raspberry Mountain Dew, I don't want this. I remember just we were all so mad that she changed that. Hindsight, it was probably a good idea discussing everything we just did, but it's like, God damn it, I'm an American. Let me live and die by my own sword. I am young enough to die by my own decisions.
I'm more scared of my addiction to sweet tea than any other product on this planet.
Really?
I think I'd have a better time with crack. I think I would be more controlled with crack cocaine than I am with sweet tea.
You'd be more able to kick the habit.
So I don't let myself drink it. I literally can't. Once I drink
Dude,
it,
you made the best sweet tea.
exactly. Once I drink it, it's 5 more glasses immediately.
Yeah.
And all it does is make you want more.
And then the next thing you know, you have a clapped out kidney. Yeah.
It's amazing how easy it is to drink a gallon of sweet tea a day.
Yeah. Dude, I remember. I haven't. That's a southern thing that I haven't done in a long time. I haven't had a good ass glass of sweet tea in a while.
I can't let myself do it.
I love sweet tea. It's so good.
Yeah. It's too good.
It was normal. So growing up, my mom would she make sweet tea every day. Every day. If I saw this pitcher sitting on a Goodwill shelf, I'd grab it just to have it as a memento. I'd put it on a shelf somewhere. My wife would put it up in the podcast studio. You know what I mean? Like it was stained brown on the inside because the only thing that went in it was tea.
Perfect.
God, I remember
Perfect.
that.
I used to have one of those.
My mom made the best sweet tea. Everybody's mom made the best sweet tea.
Yeah. My mom made the best everything besides decisions. As many wrong things about that woman, I'll give her credit any day of the week. The bitch can cook.
God, that lady could throw.
I
the
would
fuck
put her up
down.
against Bobby Flay with all of my money on her any day of the week.
The problem is depending upon who the judges are, is who would win. Because your mother's food is going to come out, and it's not going to look like Bobby Flay's. Bobby Flay's is going to be plated beautifully. It's going to be culinarically,
Don't care.
according to the culinary rule book, would be perfect. But her shit tastes better. It just does. I can't tell you why. It just does.
I know.
It's just, it hits a part of your soul that their food doesn't touch. You're like, oh, wow, this is sophisticated. It's like, fuck sophistication. I want love. Your mom's food tasted like love. Their food tastes like, oh, this is an exquisite meal.
If only that was the only way she tried to express her love, that would have worked out a lot better.
Do you feel comfortable talking about your childhood and how you grew up?
Yeah, same question you asked me an hour ago.
Yeah. Well, go ahead. Talk about it. So to a lot of people,
Start me out.
they don't know, but you're adopted.
Kind of, sort of.
Right.
Kind of. I have learned things as I've grown that kind of negates that a little bit. The best way to put it is I was legally kidnapped. I'm gonna write a fucking movie and make millions of dollars off this.
Keep going. You were legally kidnapped.
So my father, who does not look like he would be my father. Have you met Joey?
I've seen pictures of him.
It doesn't look like we'd ever be related. But if you ever hear him talk, we have the exact same voice, which really pisses me off because I know how fucking annoying he is. And now that I know I sound the same as him, I'm like, fuck. But there's nothing I can do about it.
Speaking of that, don't re-listen to this podcast when it goes out because you're gonna hear your voice.
I know,
and you're gonna hate it because I do it. I re-listen to the podcast to make clips from it, and every time I talk, I'm like, "Shut the fuck up."
if it makes you feel better, I say the same thing to you. I listen to your podcast. Just fuck with you. A little bit.
We've been like this. This has been our relationship every time. I've been like this my whole life. How many times in your life have you said, "Wow, Ryan actually said something that's funny"? You've said it a shit ton of times. Anytime I say something funny, Jake's like, "Wow, Ryan, that's the funniest thing you've ever said." Every time I say something funny,
how you used to be was you would say something like knocking it out of the park like once a month.
Something just completely out of the blue.
Like
I wish
making me cry laughing, and then without a shadow of a doubt, you would follow it up
with some
the dumbest thing you could say. We're all just like,
it's like I got on a roll. It's like I caught wind, but didn't know how to handle it. I was a verbal punching bag back then. But every now and then, this fucking punching bag hit you with a Francis Ngannou.
I love you for it.
It's my brother's the same way though. Sometimes he says shit and you're like, Robbie, shut the fuck up. And other like it'll give you pause. Like he'll say something sometimes, and I'm the same way still. He'll say something sometimes where you're just like it just makes the whole momentum of the conversation stop. You like look over and you're like, what did you just say? And then other times you piss yourself laughing because you didn't see it coming. Sometimes we're Theo Vaughn, sometimes we're Bert Kreischer. You know? keep going. I'm sorry. So you were legally kidnapped.
Legally kidnapped.
Yeah.
My father was trying to raise me as a single father because I was the product of an affair with his best friend's wife. So, fucked up bastard child to start. That's the beginning of my life. He went and visited me in the hospital, which was 3 doors down from where my daughter was just born. The room I was born in was 3 doors down.
Wow.
I was born in room 418, Tampa General.
Wow.
I only knew that because it's tattooed on his neck. So he went and visited like as a friend, and he had like taken a picture of me, but he kind of knew in the back of his head like it's probably my kid, and he took it to his
because he banged the lady that
9 months prior. So he takes it to his grandma, my great grandma, and she sees my hair standing straight up as a newborn baby, which is what his did, and from that alone, she knew that I was his child. We don't look very much like. He is 5'6" and looks like he picks berries in the field next door.
Jesus Christ. Continue. I'm letting you tell the story.
I'm not trying to make any offense to it at all. Like for being my father, like I look very Caucasian. He looks very Mexican. He does because my grandpa, like his dad is 100% Mexican. Like, but I apparently look exactly like my biological mother that I never met.
You still never met her?
Nope.
Oh wow. Continue.
She wanted nothing to do with me once she learned that I was Joey's. So,
how did that find out? Was it just the hair standing up thing?
It was my great granny saw it and she paid for the DNA test and found out. So when I think she had me until I was like a month, and they knew that, like maybe not even that.
Wow.
So she kind of. Yeah, and like I said, obviously I was an infant, a newborn.
How can you?
So
that's crazy to me.
Nothing I say is 100% written in stone. I can only know what I've gathered over the years through all the lies that have been told, and I've heard 20 different things as to what actually happened. But so this is what I best gather.
Yeah.
As to what happened. So he was trying to single father take care of me. He had his mom's sister, so his aunt was his favorite aunt. She was like involved in this. She was that cool aunt. She was the one who listened to rap music when they only listened to Christian music when he was growing up. She would take him to like arcades and everything. So he trusted her completely. She had a few screws loose. You probably know who I'm talking about. And she would like watch me every other weekend or so. My great granny would watch me every weekend. And she ended up telling him like, "Hey, my name was Brandon at the time. Brandon Lee was my name, named after Bruce Lee's son." She said Brandon needs health insurance. Joey was 24, had no idea how to do it. She is amazing when it comes to anything that has to do with the system. Like I know it's kind of general, but like the system, like the legal system, health insurance, how America works, the very fucked
She's
up
good at
way.
manipulating the system.
100%. Manipulating anything. So she was like, Jake needs health insurance, or Brandon needs health insurance. I can get it for him. I'll just have you sign the paperwork. He's like, okay, yeah, that's cool. She took me for the weekend as she normally would, brought me back, and was like, here's the paperwork, just sign here, and he didn't read any of it. He's just like, cool, health insurance.
Like every American.
Signed all of it. She shows up the next day with the cops, and he had signed adoption paperwork and didn't know it. And this story has been confirmed by several other people than him. She would swear that nothing like this ever happened, but when I watch him tell it to me with the biggest tears coming out of his eyes, and I mean, it's kind of hard to deny that, and multiple sources of confirmation. So she finessed the legal system. She was a paralegal for a job. She was good at it. Really good. Oh. The cops obviously made me go with her, and
You're a baby at this point, anyways.
4 months old.
You have no say in the matter.
4 months.
Yeah.
My,
you can barely
my,
see.
my say is wah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I was apparently a very verbal baby. I got us kicked out of a Buddy Freddy's one time.
Okay. I'm really interested in the story we were just talking about.
Well, I mean, I guess that's...
This is all news to me. I didn't realize this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've learned this in my
Adult life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I wasn't the first person. So here's a really funny part as to how my name was changed. My dad that raised me, he just turned 90 years old last month. 3 weeks ago, turned 90 years old.
The one that raised you, your adopted
Al.
father.
Yeah.
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 Jesus Christ.
90. Still working out every other day and golfing twice a week.
Yeah.
And 90 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said he's worked out every day of his life. The only thing he's done longer and more consistently is drink. So if you need advice on living a long time and healthy,
Need to get him on the podcast. Have a bourbon with that guy.
yeah. So that was her husband. Obviously, they had a 24-year age difference. So I grew up with my dad that raised me was
Kudos to him.
much older.
Sorry.
Good job.
Continue.
So he has a son and a daughter, and then so technically his daughter, who is 35, 40 years older than me, is my sister, according to the adoption. Right.
Quotes, yeah, air quotes.
She was pregnant. This was a year before I was born. She was pregnant, and her and her husband got into a fight, and she goes and lives with them for a little bit. Well, my mom that raised me, she created a very unhealthy, very creepy obsession with Terry's my sister, with her pregnancy, acting as if it was hers. So she was never... God did not allow her to have children, and there's a damn good fucking reason for that. And she went against his will anyway.
Wow.
So yeah, none of her lady parts worked, so she was obsessed with. That sounds weird. Obsessed with kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
like a bird that can't have
Right.
its own
But
birds.
it was
Start stealing other babies.
And it's just like that. It's very, very unhealthy. And she creeped Terry out so much. And she's like, I'd rather go home and deal with the bullshit of my husband, who sucks.
Yeah.
who he improved a lot over the years. But so Linda had made a whole room dedicated to Jake, who is Terry's son. They had already named him Jake in her belly and everything. Whole room dedicated.
How old are you at this time? You're 4 months old still, or
No, I wasn't born.
Okay.
That Jake is a year older than me. So
Okay.
she was pregnant with him. I'm still swimming in my dad's nutsack. I mean, that's where I am.
Yeah.
Where I am. And she moves out. So now they have this whole room dedicated with Jake everywhere. So when she stole me, I was then renamed Jake
Like
to fill
legally?
that room.
Wow.
I went from
How
Brandon.
many people know this?
Like probably not too many.
Wow. I had no idea. And I've known you for fucking 10 years.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something I go around telling everybody.
Yeah.
I guess.
Now, I mean, send them the podcast if they want to know more about you, I guess.
Well, those details about Terry, I learned last year before.
Wow.
Yeah, I just learned that. I was mind blown. And then I told her, we call each other cousins. Technically, he's my nephew who's older than me.
Yeah.
We just call each other cousins to make it simple.
Your family tree has got a lot of lines all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, it's messed up.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, but I told him about it, and he was like, you gotta be kidding. He's like, I've always wondered why they had the same name. Because neither one of us are Jacob. We're both Jake. Like, two of the very few. That are
Wow.
Yeah.
So your name's really Brandon. Or
Well,
it was. Well, it's now really Jake, but I mean,
Brandon Lee Starcheski.
and you
That's
did.
my name. Starcheski. The only thing
I'm
I
gonna
could
put
be
that as the
thankful
name of
for-
your episode.
Well, good luck spelling it. That's what I'm thankful for. That I never had to figure out how to spell it.
I mean, that'd be funny as fuck. 'cause,
Joey's
like,
last name is Rodriguez, but I had my birth mother's last name, and she's full on Scandinavian, which is why I look the way that I look, I guess.
You get a phone call. Okay, cool. All right, you're good. Wow. I'm like mind blown right now. So, how's your relationship with her now?
Yep.
Same as it was last I heard.
Yep.
Do you still talk to your dad?
She has blocked that relationship because everything has to be about her. So it sucks.
What do you think causes all of that? Have you thought about it much, or do you just try and keep on moving forward? I mean, because I'm assuming she's not met your child.
Nope.
Probably never will.
She cost herself that. We had a very troubling relationship my whole childhood. She was the most manipulating person that you'll ever meet. I mean, I'm not trying to bad talk. I'm not trying to good talk. Like, it's just the truth.
Tell your.
You know,
I mean, I want you to tell your side of the
anybody-
story. Yeah.
Anybody who knows her at all, who actually knows her, knows that I'm sugarcoating it for the good right now. Like, and I'm not gonna sit here and say I had the worst childhood ever. I had a lot of things provided for me as far as.
It's not like you grew up in a shit area.
No,
too. You grew up in like
there
golf
were
communities.
Countless people who had a worse childhood than me, per se. As far as being mind fucked on a daily basis, she just wanted full control, full manipulation at all time. Everything had to be her way. She has to be the priority fully. It's hard to describe, and quite honestly, I don't think about it too much anymore lately. I went over. I saw her 2 years ago or so, and I tried to tell her that I forgive her for all the troubling, that she had kind of done. And she looked me in the face and she's like, "What are you talking about? I did nothing wrong." Like,
She's like an extreme narcissist.
it's bad as you can get,
Yeah.
pretty much. Like I say, if she doesn't have control or if she's not the priority of any situation ever, there's going to be a problem, and she's going to make the biggest deal out of it as possible. I can't name a single time where we went 2 days without hearing her scream at the absolute top of her lungs at multiple things. And
What do you think caused that?
it's just psychological is the only thing. She's crazy. She's literally crazy. She belongs in the lady bed. Like,
Wow.
yeah, she's literally crazy. And she can't admit to herself that she thinks everything she does is right and normal, and everybody else is wrong and stupid, and they're crazy.
Wow.
It's so like I said, I could go on for 6 hours about it.
Yeah.
But
There's no need.
the forgiveness was for more so for me,
Yeah.
than for her. And
It's relieving. And I don't think that people realize how much they need to forgive their parents.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a lot to forgive.
And I apologized as well. I actually didn't apologize. I apologized to my dad for a couple things that I had said to him because I recorded. And he's very, very passive. The only thing I ever didn't really like that he did was he wouldn't stick up for me because and at this point in life I can't blame him because he just didn't want to deal with her shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was constantly cheating on him and everything with every man and woman that she could find, and oh yeah,
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
constantly. And he never batted an eye at it. Like he's her doormat completely, and he just won't see it. Like you try and tell him something, like something's going. No, she's my wife. She wouldn't do that. Like,
Wow.
like bro, I'm trying to tell you it's because I love you. Like,
Yeah.
but so I like just the other day I texted him for his 90th birthday, and she makes a Facebook post saying, "Oh, and I can't see this. I was sent this by an old friend of mine. A screenshot of it. Jake texted him for his 90th birthday, but did not text me the following day for Mother's Day. Called me cold and pure evil and calculated. Like I'm doing all this on purpose, and she can't handle the fact that I didn't even think of her on Mother's Day because I don't think of her as my mother.
Wow.
But she had to make it all about herself, and that's just it sums up everything
Wow.
right there. So
I am very proud of you for having forgiven her and just moved on, because that's fucking huge.
and I tried to reestablish something, and you know I very quickly realized that I have absolutely no emotions towards her whatsoever. You know, and the worst way to put it, she's honestly dead to me.
Emotionally, yeah. Which is weird because she's not dead. You know, it's one of those things where you can't have it's either an all or nothing thing with her.
That's exactly what it was.
For I'm assuming your relationship with her had to be all or nothing.
She was the first person I told that my daughter was going to be named after both of my grandmothers, which one of them is her mother. Mm-hmm. Which with her middle name being Lucy Grace, and Lucy is for my grandma and my great grandma, and then Grace is actually from the only person on this planet that has ever been a real, amazing mother to me, and that's Logan's mom, Mom Mabry.
Shout out.
100%.
Best. Yeah. Continue.
That's a woman.
Yep.
Right there. If only she get off her ass.
Jesus, Jake. Jesus, Jake.
Love you, Mom.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
She may or may not be paralyzed from the waist.
She's paralyzed from the waist down. Jesus Christ. We're in the midst of this really intense conversation. You make a handicap joke. Jesus Christ. Oh, man. That's fucking funny.
Yeah.
You, not her. Sorry. That's Jake's fault. You piece of shit. I'm reprimanding you now. That's cool.
So Linda got beyond mad at this name. She said I should have named her after her and not my two grandmothers. She said at least make it Lucinda. I was like, you have to be shitting me right now. And I kind of laughed it off. Like, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect the best reaction. But that's why I told her in person instead of her, like, finding out somewhere else. Like, if anything that you know and people who know me know about me is I'm the most bluntly honest person, whether you want me to be or not.
Yep.
And I think that stems from me being lied to and deceived so much on a daily basis.
So you took the opposite approach, which is I'm going to be overly share.
And I think that's the best way to go about it. That's what I'm doing as a parent. Mm-hmm. I want to be the exact opposite. And by that theory, I should be pretty good. Like, I want Adeline to be, it's my daughter's name, to be as independent of a human being, especially for a girl. I was terrified of raising a girl.
Yeah.
I was terrified. I want her to be as absolutely independent, able to make her own choices and whatnot, but also know I'm always going to be there for her, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm not in control. I don't want to be.
I mean, just by her parents being around is, I mean, it's night and day difference.
Yeah. And like I said, just take the opposite approach to it. Show love properly. Understand that she is her own person. You know, there's only so much you can shape a person, whether it's even intentional or not. A lot of it's going to be just monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah. More is caught than is taught. That's the best thing to, And, yeah. More is caught than is taught.
Yeah. But there's so many factors that are going to be attributed to her personality that is genetic as well. You know, to everything about her that's genetic, that's out of everyone's control. And you can't get mad at her for it. You can't try and change her to the way that you want her to be. She's going to be who she wants.
Independent person.
Right. Just, let's try and use our mind to think before we do things. I don't know if you're going to be able to think before you say things, because I don't know how to do that. If you can't tell by the amount of cutting camera work you're going to have to.
I'm going to work with the bleep function a lot.
I'll probably never be here again.
No, you're fine. No.
I actually really enjoy this. I would like to if you don't hate me yet. But.
No. Yeah. I would love to. I was about to say, I'd love to have you guys, have you on in addition to, Cody or Wyatt. Or, and then introduce alcohol.
I'm not a big drinker. It's never. I don't have anything
You're
against
not a small drinker.
Nice.
Regardless, I'm incredibly proud of you for doing that. That's incredibly wise of you to make those decisions to reflect. And I think if you hadn't forgived yourself and the woman who raised you, you would not have been able to see it from that perspective. And it's a very mature thing for you to realize because of it. And I'm super impressed.
There's nobody that helped me more than Mom Mabry. Nobody.
Yep.
That's
because she showed you what it should be.
That's my rock. That's my mom. I call her my mom. When I reference my mom, that's mom.
Yep.
It's 100% through and through.
Because she showed you what unconditional love was. You're not even her child.
When I finally said fuck this and left my house that I grew up in, I went straight there, and she took me in immediately, and just the trust and confidence that she took me in. Her son Logan was leaving for college the next week. That leaves it's me, her, Nana, and Logan's little sister. Yeah. Who I've always seen as my little sister.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of trust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not family, but treating me as family. Kind of I took that with a lot of humbleness and respect and everything. That was amazing of them. And the first question she asked me was, "What do you want to do?" I'm like,
"What?"
I've never been asked this question.
Eat Pop-Tarts and play video games.
You ever put butter on a Pop-Tart?
It's so freaking good. That's an inside joke that most people don't even realize. We all, as a friend group, watched way too much Family Guy.
Way too much. I don't know if there's enough as much as too much, but
that's fair. I love Family Guy. Mm-hmm. So fucking funny. When they took it off of Netflix has been on a downward spiral since.
It's on Hulu.
Who?
Hulu.
Who?
Lou.
Regardless. Okay, so picking up to where you just put off, we're going to change the tone a little bit. So you're living with Logan's mom and Logan. And we're hanging out at that house all the time. Mm-hmm. And you've changed vehicles 29 times.
As of now. Here we go.
I remember I was driving my dad's Yukon because my car, something was wrong. I think that was when I was getting the transmission fixed on the Explorer. And I remember you're like, you know what? I need something that gets good gas mileage to drive to and from work. This is after the red truck.
This is when I had the big Silverado.
Did you have the Silverado? Because you bought them. You owned them both at the same time.
Yep.
So Silverado's getting worked on because you wanted to turn it into a show truck. You needed a daily driver.
Yep.
You bought a 97.
I think it was a 95.
A old ass Honda Civic.
Yeah, something like that.
and it was lowered. And I don't even know where we were going, but whatever it was, it got halted.
We were going to Advance Auto
You tell the story.
to buy what you need to change the oil. To buy the oil, the whole
Because you
filter.
just bought the car,
It's
right?
very ironic for what happens next.
You had just gotten the car, right? You hadn't had it for very long. It was a stick shift Honda Civic 4-banger. I mean, it was a fucking...
Yeah, I owned it for every bit of 2.5 hours.
You're going to get the stuff to do the initial oil change. Like when you buy a used car, you're like, I should probably change the oil because I don't know when they did it.
I'd never driven a lowered car before, okay?
Barely had driven a stick shift.
At that point, yeah, barely driven stick shift. And
It was your first manual car.
that I'd owned, yeah.
As opposed to one you'd leased?
Well, I've owned several manual cars since then.
Yeah, that was the first, what was I saying, the first one. And you
Yes.
said, yeah, that I've owned. And I'm like, what does that mean? Sorry, Jake. Sorry.
You're good. You're good.
No shit, Sherlock. No, I'm just kidding.
There's a manhole cover in the middle of the road that sticks up way more than a manhole cover should. And I guess I didn't know what to do.
This is a guy. I want everyone to picture this. His first vehicle was a Chevy Avalanche. He's driven nothing but trucks up to this point. Buys a lowered Honda Civic, a car that already rides low to the ground, and it's
Sitting
even
on the ground.
even lower to the ground at that point.
Yeah.
And what happens next, Jake?
Well, instead of doing what I very quickly learned what I should have done was putting the tires over the manhole cover, I straddled it like you would in a truck. And it may or may not have caught the oil pan, which 2.5 hours after I ended up rips off the oil pan with a chunk of the engine block.
Oil everywhere over the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I just remember I was driving behind you guys in the Yukon because it was a 2-door coupe. So there was no, and I don't think there was a backseat. I think it had speakers, or I was like, fuck that, I'm not riding the backseat. We're just going right. I mean, we're literally driving a mile down the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
To go to Advance
This
Auto.
happened in the neighborhood.
Yeah, you're walking distance from your house. I think you're on the third manhole cover from your house, to put it into perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably 18 houses away if I were to take an accurate guess.
And that's probably about right. 18 might be overshadowing it, too. That's 18.
It's right there.
Considering both sides.
I hadn't turned on a public road yet. It's in the neighborhood.
You're still in the fucking neighborhood.
I was just standing there like...
And I was behind you, and I was like, yo, what the fuck just happened? Why are they stopping? And I look, and then just a puddle of brown goo coming out of the bottom. And you drove over your oil pan.
Yep. So we...
I was so confused what was happening, because I'm just like by myself in the GMC, like, what the fuck just happened?
and I got out like, what the fuck just happened?
Cody got out of the car like, what the fuck just happened?
Cody's like, I know exactly.
This is the start of Cody being a mechanic. You're the reason that Cody likes to work on cars. You understand that?
You're welcome.
The picture of Cody at the
also
intersection
sorry.
in Miami holding your fucking... holding your drive shaft.
This guy
over
wanted
his shoulder.
$600 to change out a yoke for the drive shaft. Cody's like, fuck that. We can do it ourselves.
Was it a U-joint?
Huh?
Wasn't it a U-joint?
Yes.
Yeah. A U-joint on the back of a drive shaft. And there's just a picture of Cody.
In the Johnson & Wheels parking lot, we dropped my drive shaft, and Cody's like, fuck, I need a vise to put this U-joint in here. And I'm like, I saw a vise the other day. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, there is a vise. It's at West Marine, across the street. That street being Highway 1.
Which is a busy ass, like, 4-lane road. 4 lanes in each direction, right?
So there is a picture of Cody standing on the corner where we're about to cross.
You need to text me that
Highway
picture
1.
so I can splice it into the video.
Okay, I got you. And he's got my drive shaft hiked up on his shoulder. And we walk into the funniest part of all of it. We're walking into West Marine.
This is this dude selling fishing rods looks up and goes, "What the fuck?"
I was looking at it sideways. We're like, "Can we use your vise?" The guy's like, he didn't know. He's like, it's in the back. Thanks. Just walk back there. The drive shaft. Old drive shaft.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
I just see the picture of him standing at like a crosswalk with his fucking Chevy drive shaft over his shoulder. This is the craziest shit.
That was awesome. But so we pushed the car, the back to the Civic story. We pushed the car back to the house.
Did we push it or we pull it? I thought we went and got your truck and we pulled it back. Either way, it's back in your driveway.
Made it back. And
completely empty of oil, so that saves you some time.
What the hell do we do now? So we jacked it up. We're like, oh, we're obviously going to need a new oil pan.
Cody looked at the oil pan when it's sitting
In the
where
street.
this happened.
Yeah.
And looked at it and goes, that's not good.
Yeah.
This should not be attached to this part right here. This is part of your engine block.
Yeah. No, it had came off the oil pan. Because what happened was when we had it out, Cody was the one that noticed the chunk of the engine block missing on the bottom. We walked back to the scene of the accident. The sole accident.
Scene of the crime.
And my engine block, big, like a chunk like this big, is sitting in the gutter. He goes over and picks it up. We walk back to the house, and him and Logan take one good look at it, and they're like, what if we JB weld it back together? Like, I just paid like $1,000 for this car. I don't give a shit.
Debatably overpaid for it.
Me and Logan spent the next week JB welding it.
Cody, JB welded it. With
I
Logan.
think he did the first layer.
Because I was there every day after that. Because I remember this is when we barely had tools.
You're probably gonna remember it better than me.
Yes. So I remember at one point, because I was underneath it with Cody the entire time, like holding lights and shit. I don't know how much Logan was a part of it. He would have to tell that part of the story. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I remember it was like 3 days in a row after that where we went and got a tube of JB Weld and used the entire thing, or no, a tube of gasket maker. Cody, if he was here, if he's listening to this, he's probably like, yeah, knock the fuck out in his mind. But we basically put the chunk of the engine block back on.
Yes, we did. Via JB Weld.
And we used I remember there was 3 vice grips all attached to each other to hold each other up because we didn't have the right tools.
And that's what Logan's doing the next couple of days. We would wait 24 hours and he would go under there and reapply.
Yeah.
Making sure it's all sealed and everything.
We put it all back together. Gasket maker.
I ordered another oil pan.
New oil pan.
And a gasket from eBay. And a week later.
And then we put the gasket on with gasket maker, like a shit ton of gasket.
A week later, it was back on the road. I drove it for 5 months straight, no issues.
I thought you sold it. Didn't we tell you to sell it?
5.
Cody looked at you and was like, sell this now.
No, I drove the piss out of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I drove it a lot. Cody beat that Civic in a race using mutt.
To put it, can you put it in perspective what mutt is? Mutt is a 2-wheel drive.
Mutt is America.
What was it? 301 cubic inch straight six.
I think it's 300.
306. 300 straight six.
Most reliable motor ever made
one of the best
in the history of time.
6-cylinder motors that Ford ever made.
Mutt had
stick shift.
Heart. Mutt was America.
The reason Cody had named this truck Mutt was because it was made out of so many different truck parts. It was not one truck. It was mostly a 95 Ford F-150. But it was put together with a lot of shit. It was so fucked up.
It had the twin I-beam lift on it on 35s, and I think it had 15s or 16-inch rims on it. It had this
15s. It had 15s because they're hard to find rims.
Yeah. This big steel bumper on
handmade,
the front. Handmade
steel
that you
bumper.
could fill with compressed air if you wanted to.
Yeah. It was like nuclear strength steel. Like it was fucking.
It was
thick.
ready for war.
It was a heavy ass steel bumper, and then a turtle walked out. So Cody straight axle swapped that truck, where he took it because it was a 2-wheel drive truck, and he had every intention of making it 4-wheel drive. Loved this truck. I mean, it was so cool. They took out the headliner. It was all steel, and it was just littered with stickers. Any sticker. It didn't have to make any fucking sense.
Yep.
Any sticker would just go up there, and it was the fucking.
One
it
of
was
my
so cool.
my 5th grade school picture was on the roof. Was on.
I have that picture too. You look like such a stud.
That shirt's an adult XL. That's the shirt.
So it has like a fucking. The shifting knob is a fucking yellow screaming face.
Yep.
And I mean it was a 2-door long bed.
Yep.
And I remember riding 3 deep in that truck.
All the time.
I was the smallest person.
You learned how to drive stick on that truck.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. I was the smallest person. It was Cody's brother, me and Cody, we had to go pick up Bubba in Tampa, pouring ass down rain, which if you remember right, the AC in that thing did not work well ever.
Have you had Bubba on the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone knows Bubba's a large man. And this
Bubba-
time was of no exception.
Bubba is the most Bubba-ist of all Bubbas you will ever see. Bubba.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Yeah.
But it makes perfect sense.
You just have to listen to his episode of the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, you just have to. I mean, it's so crazy.
It's so Bubba.
You're right. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
Well, but I remember riding in stick shift, and so I'm like split legs. Like there's no room. I have no room. You could barely fit 3 moderately sized people in that truck, and there's 900 pounds plus of men in a single cab Ford with no AC in the middle of the summer, and it's pouring ass down. It's just nothing but humid inside the fucking cab. You can't see. Like I remember we had to open the nut windows, which to put it in perspective, I don't know what they're really supposed to be called. We call them the nut windows because on older trucks there's a little window you can open, and when you turn it, it blows air down towards your feet, but it really just blows on your nuts. So we called them nut windows.
Every vehicle should have this.
I don't know why America got rid of nut windows.
Yeah.
Bring back the nut window, Ford. Stop being the Bud Light of trucks.
Yes.
Bring back the nut window and the V8. So, that being said,
That's awesome.
bring back the 300 straight 6 and don't make it stupid. So, I remember just riding that truck and being just absolutely disgusted, and Cody was like shifting into my legs. It was just the worst. Just the worst. It was the most
Hopefully
uncomfortable.
he was grabbing the right knob every time. That's what I'd be concerned about.
Jesus Christ. So, yeah. He straight axle swapped that truck. It's on a straight axle, trying to make it 4-wheel drive. He just needs to do the transmission stuff, get a transfer case, all that stuff. Turtle walks out on the road. He goes to swerve to miss it, just taps the brakes. They all lock up. He does a 180, slams into a tree,
This is a sad day.
totals the truck.
Rest in peace, man.
He paid
Thankfully, they were okay.
$1,000 for that truck. The reason he bought that truck was because his parents made him pay for that truck by himself. And so he bought a piece of shit truck with a welded frame and, a frame that had frame damage before. And, I mean, that truck was, it was just... But, he would still have it to this day.
We made a trip to the Panhandle and back in it. He helped me take my boat up there to trade for this big Chevy mud truck that was probably at least 3 times the weight limit of what his truck should have been pulling. We never exceeded.
I forgot about that truck. The red one on 44s?
Yes.
Yes.
We never exceeded 57 miles an hour on the way back. That was pegged. That was full
Just as fast
on the
as it could
floor.
go.
Constantly switching between 4th and 5th because it wouldn't hold 5th.
We'd bog it down. I remember that. That truck was fucking huge.
Yeah.
It was on 1 tons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's 49s.
Big ass fucking truck. I forgot. I have pictures of that truck.
Yeah.
Do you?
Just what's like on my Facebook or something back in the day.
I would say one of the stupidest things you've ever done was get rid of your Chevy that you have.
The fact that you can narrow it down to one of is impressive in itself. Because I've done a lot of stupid shit.
This is just one of the ones. So you had quite literally one of the nicest 2008 Chevy Silverados. I mean, it was just. Everyone thought it was a 2500. It looked so good, and you got door panels put in it, like professional speaker system door panels. Traded it for a blown out diesel.
I'm more. I get on to myself every single day about it.
Out of all of my regrets, let me see if I can find this picture, because this truck, man, I mean, to anyone listening, that's Mutt when he got it in 2014. If you can see, it's an old Chevy. Rest in peace.
Sir.
But dude, your red Chevy was insane. That red one that you bought was just insane.
I never really got to use it or anything.
You drove it around Cody's parents' backyard. That's for certain.
And sold it.
Yep. You've transitioned a lot of vehicles.
Yeah, I changed my mind on.
More than underwear.
That's for sure.
There's that picture of Will and Cody.
Oh, that's awesome. There's the camera.
I'll have to zoom in on this to show people. But either way, whatever. There's gonna be a lot of editing on this
Those are
one,
good times, man.
dude. Back in the day,
I miss my
where's-
back porch. That's where I always was. I go rent out the back porch.
You're
the-
talking
the
about
porch.
at her
At
house?
the Seffner house.
There she is. It was 4-door, bro. The tint that you had to talk about, the illegal tint that you had on the front windows, was insane.
You can't see me. I can't see you.
Yeah, that shit was insane.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, that was the darkest window tint ever.
Had a lot of time, a lot of money in that truck for sure. It was a complete and utter waste. You know, I was never taught anything whatsoever about money besides how to spend it.
We were good at that. Yeah, that's for certain.
Just my whole life growing up. I mean, so that's what I did, and as somehow we have became adults. I won't do it again.
No, you're fun. You're fun.
It's awesome.
It's a funny name.
I've obviously had to learn how to be at least a lot better at. I'm not going to say I'm great at any means, but definitely a lot better as far as your mindset and where your money, especially when you actually work for it, and every dollar that comes to you is from something you've done.
Yeah.
What funded that truck wasn't that,
Right.
basically. So I think I just never had a true appreciation for it because I didn't work for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can't help that I have good taste. I made it look great, but
It was a good looking truck. The window tint, you couldn't fucking see out of it at night. You had to roll the
I bought
windows
it with
to
that
turn.
window tint. Actually,
Didn't you? But didn't you get double 5% put on it?
no, that's what was on it.
Jesus Christ, I didn't realize that.
That's why I liked it.
The tint.
Yeah, I'm like,
It
it's the
looked like
darkest
you-
tint I've ever seen.
It looked like you painted the windows.
Yeah.
It was insane. I'm still trying to find. I swear to you, I have a picture of that red truck. Dude, it's gonna kill me. I have to find this at God, how long ago was it when you got that truck?
Nom.
Yeah, no. Jesus Christ, dude. I'm not gonna be able to find it, but that red truck was cool. Not as good as the GMC that D Dixon rolled, but Oh, I was gonna say the next dumbest thing you did was when you took it to this dude's house. We all went with you. 2 hours away from home to some dude you'd only met online to drop it off to get the door panels done.
Oh, shout out Donnell and Trey. Still great friends with them to this day.
At the time,
I love them.
That might have been one of the dumbest things I remember we stopped at, what was the restaurant that Logan always talked about? You guys had always talked about. Hollow Paw restaurant. I had a meatloaf sandwich that still to this day is second to nothing for meatloaf
That place
sandwiches.
is fantastic.
This is the best meatloaf sandwich I've ever had.
Yeah.
Debate, I was like, wow, I question their health standards, but I don't question their food. Their food is a great representation of what America should taste like. But I remember we got there, and we meet these people I've never met before. And
No, I had met them one time.
Oh, you had?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I met
We're
them
at their house, though.
Yep.
And I just remember you dropping the truck off, and we left, and we're all together in one car. We're like an hour away.
know exactly what's coming.
And somehow it came up in conversation that the title of your truck was in the glove box of the truck. They could have legally stolen that truck from
Absolutely.
you. You gave they had to sign a name on that title, and they had possession. I mean, it doesn't get more legal than that. It's in their front yard.
Yeah.
And we were like, "You're an idiot." That was probably one of the dumbest things you've ever done.
I trust them with my life.
And then you traded that truck for a blown out Duramax.
Yep.
You know, we learned from it.
If I didn't
You
do
don't.
that,
I'm assuming you don't regret it.
what decisions would I be making today
Right.
that would be any more responsible than if I didn't do that?
Yeah.
You know, I had to learn.
Yep.
You know, and that's how I have to look at it, or I'm going to go insane. So
Yeah. Out of all the vehicles you've ever owned, which one has been your favorite?
Sierra.
The red GMC.
Yeah.
Yeah. And was it just because it's one of those things like kind of like Mac Miller died in his prime,
Yep. I only had it for
like Led Zeppelin died in its prime, lead singer of AC/DC died in his prime.
I only had it for 3.5 months or so.
Yeah. It's just one of those ones she's gone too
And
soon.
we had done so much to it.
The one that got away.
Because at the same time, I had the first job, and then that goes back to we're doing the ice carving, and we're making we got our first check for 1 week.
You're making legit money. You were working a shit ton of hours.
Well, here's the funny part about that. Our first check was like $350, and I looked at that, and I'm like, I'm rich. I called my mom, looking at the check, and I'm like, you don't have to send me money anymore. I got it. I'm fully independent. You're living in a dorm at the college. I have
heavily in student debt.
yes. I have the truck payment and gas and food, and I'm like, I can handle my entire life. I don't even need school. I'm making so much money.
So stupid. But that's how it felt though at that time.
Dude, like I said, no responsibilities.
Yeah.
And you give me a
Most
little
amount of freedom, yeah.
then you give me a little bit, and then but I'm
Can I get 8 McChickens, please? Spicy, please. Sweet and a Diet Coke.
Sweet tea.
I know, I'm fucking with you.
Sweet tea.
That's the irony of the situation. Is most people will get like, yeah, can you supersize all of that and let me get a Diet Coke? Just get the regular Coke, motherfucker.
Diet Coke's worse for you
Yes.
than regular Coke.
Yeah. Just get the regular Coke. Take the calories.
Yeah.
Can you talk about when you worked for the Miami Ice, man? Because that's a crazy story in of itself that I like. Just the whole time frame where
It
you guys
tested mine and Cody's friendship at times, which was fantastic and terrible. I remember, like I said, being 18, 19 years old and coming out of the household I came out of.
You guys were wildin'.
We were, and at the same time, I'm one of the biggest idiots you're ever gonna meet. If I ever met that person, like if me now meeting that person, it's funny. I would say that I'd beat his ass, but that's prior back injury, Jake. So I'd have it handed to me. That guy would beat my ass, but he'd be stupid for it. No, very hard on myself. I was very hard on myself for sure. But self-reflection is a good thing.
Yeah.
Really, and maybe to a certain extent, some would say, but to each their own.
I think you've grown up a lot. I think you've grown up a ton since I've known you. Because at a certain point, we're like, Jesus Christ, this Jake. Like you had it's like mentally you came to a fork in the road. It's like stay a high schooler forever, or not. And I think you chose the or not. And you've had the same.
But I still have fun in life, man.
Yeah.
I'm always going to do that. I want to have fun. I want to always have my extremely dark sense of humor. And
Dude, that's the best.
It is what it is.
The amount of Twin Towers 9/11 jokes that Jake probably has available on the ready on his phone right now is probably enough to where if he deleted them all, his phone would be physically lighter.
If everybody just had a sense of freaking humor, a real
We
sense
live
of freaking humor.
in a society that can't hear the word gay. You know what I mean? Like, and we grew up like retarded was a regular word. Back
Like
in the day.
there's plenty of things that I say like in my head. I'm like, oh, they're gonna take that the wrong way. But like, and there's so many times I don't mean it harmful.
Yeah.
It's just the way that
Intent is a huge thing. If you take stuff you've said in this podcast and wrote it down and didn't show context or anything like that, and you showed it to people, you'd be like, oh, he's horrible.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but I really, if I mean something in a malicious way, I'm going to be the very first person to tell you.
Yeah.
I said blunt honesty. Hate it, love it, I don't care.
Yep.
It's what it is.
Yep.
It's just if everyone could just have a sense of humor,
Yep. 100%.
everything would be fixed.
Yep.
But those days were fun at Miami Ice, man. I was always mad at Cody, like stupid Jake, being mad at Cody for making $1 more per hour.
But do you blame him hindsight now, knowing that he had to keep you under control?
Well, he should have been paid at least for that alone. He should have been paid at least $10 more per hour. But when he left and came back home, I took his job, and it was way harder.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I've been wrong every time I've thought or said that we should be making the same money, because he's definitely
Doing more shit.
yeah, absolutely.
And how many times did you almost cut your finger off and he had to like save you?
I don't think I ever had.
Remember the finger condom? I remember the finger
You want me
condom.
to tell that story?
Yeah, go ahead.
We were in class at Johnson and Wales.
Culinary school.
Yes.
This is like one of the top culinary
Yes.
schools at that time.
Yes. Top. Screw this.
It's one of the only.
They closed that campus.
By that metric, it was also one of the worst.
But we were in class, and I had gone in my. We each had, instead of carrying like a backpack to class, you would have a knife bag, which is kind of awesome. In this knife bag is a spatula. You know exactly where I'm going with this.
I've got it.
I know you have it.
Yeah.
There's also a knife sharpener. And Cody had this idea.
I split my finger on the spatula that you
Cody had
referred
this
to.
idea to sharpen a spatula. And he got to the point where it was just nonstop, like multiple days in a row for such a long time, just nonstop sending it through. He legitimately sharpened a spatula
Yeah.
to the point where it could cut through anything. Ryan learned that the hard way not long ago at all.
I was washing it. I'm just washing dishes, and I'm like, oh, let me just split my fucking finger open on that spatula. It was given to
That
me.
he sharpened 10 years ago.
Still sharp.
Right.
Remind me when we get out of here. I'll show you.
That was amazing. I was unzipping my knife bag, and my tournay knife was kind of sticking sideways out of it. Probably.
Can you explain what a tournay knife is? Because that in and of itself, if somebody doesn't know, it's just the most stupid thing.
The best shape I could relate it to would be like a velociraptor claw.
Yeah. It's like a
Yeah.
like a
As
hook.
strange of a reference as that is.
Like a hook.
Yeah.
It's meant to cut tournay potatoes.
Yeah. And then the blade is on the opposite side you would picture it being on. Like it's sharp on the inside of it, not
The
the
outside.
outside. Right.
Yeah, so that way you can cut it into a football shape for no fucking reason.
But it was sticking out, and I caught my my finger on it as I was unzipping the bag, and I start squirting, like 5-foot projectile squirting blood, and I looked at it like, oh shit, just like that. So I like grab my finger really tight, and I walk around the corner, and Cody turns around and he sees me come out, and he looks at me, and there's blood seeping through every single seam
In your hand.
of my hand. It's bleeding so much. And Cody's like, oh my god. He comes over there, and like I'm holding pressure on it, and he helps clean me up. He's always been like a dad of the group.
Yeah.
Now to watch him be an actual dad is
Yeah.
he's just as good as we always
Yeah,
knew
yeah.
he would be, and more. But so he starts like cleaning my finger up for me, and like I'm a little kid and he's dad.
You're just like standing there looking at your finger. I just
so
imagine
we're-
you just standing there like he's just fucking cleaning it up.
Over the sink, there's blood everywhere. So this took
Kiss
like,
it, make it better.
it took like 5 minutes, and he bandages it up, and he has the finger condom right here, like about to go over.
Which
my-
works just like a regular condom. I mean, but it's meant for fingers. And
Well, they're the same size, aren't they?
so go on.
You mean to tell me?
Go on. Keep going, Jake.
Chef comes around the corner, and he sees what's going on, and he's like, "What are you doing?" We make the joke to this day how he said it, like just screaming at Cody. And Cody's like, "I'm putting the finger condom." Jake's finger's like, "You can't be helping him. Jake could have been doing plumbing, and now he has hepatitis C and B." And Cody's like, "Jake doesn't do plumbing."
It's more likely at that time that you would have gotten hepatitis from Cody from doing plumbing.
Chef's like flipping out. He's like, "Chef, whatever Jake has, I have. Whatever I have, Jake has. Like, we're basically brothers." Like,
I just remember like you guys telling me that you calmly were just like continue doing what you're doing as he's yelling at you guys to stop. It's like, bitch, we made it this far. What's stopping gonna do now?
that was
Dude, fucking fun times. I need him. Next time we do one, we'll definitely need to do this again. Next time we do a podcast, we'll have him on too, and we'll have some drinks. We'll do an evening podcast if that's cool with you.
Yeah.
and we'll go even more into it. I have to piss pretty bad, and I do have other things I have to do today.
Me as well. I have to build a sub box for a Corvette. It's my day.
What kind of box? Like a Subway sandwich box?
A subwoofer box for an 82 Corvette.
How many sub sandwiches can you fit into this box?
Depends how loud he wants it.
Fair. And how big the subs are. Either way. Thank you for doing this, Jake. I had to piss. You realize we've gone for like 2.5 hours.
Really?
Probably more, yeah. It's at recording at 2 hours right now, and we cut it off at like 40 minutes, I want to say.
Huh.
By the time it's edited and stuff, you'll have it goes by quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 1:40. Yep. Shit, it's the most fucking fun, man. I love this to death.
I enjoy
thank
it.
you for...
You kind of realize how much you have to talk about.
You were probably... I remember you telling me, like, what the fuck are we going to talk about? I'm like, Jake, we've never had a problem talking about shit.
Yeah.
If anything, we can't get you to shut the fuck up.
No, that's very true. That's very true.
It's a good time. I mean, thank you for telling the stories of everything, you know. And I know you're an open book, but, you know, I think that somebody might listen to this that has a fucking, you know, something similar or parallel that they can make in their life. You know, they might be resenting their parents, and maybe this makes a fucking difference in their life. So I don't know. But either way, it's funny as fuck. Good time. Everybody, Jake Suarez. I wish I was Jake on Instagram.
Please don't send me snap leg videos. Or spiders.
You heard that. Do exactly what he just told you not to do. All right. Thank you, everybody. Peace. This episode of Somehow We're Adults is over. But if you'd like to support the podcast, you can subscribe to one of the levels of the Patreon, where we will release bonus episodes that can't be found anywhere else. Any of the money that we get from the Patreon would be used to upgrade old equipment, as well as get new gear so that we can make the best podcast for you to tune into. You can also follow the podcast Instagram at Somehow We're Adults, where I share clips and content about the podcast, and the link in the bio will take you to any of the Somehow We're Adults pages. I encourage you to check out another one of the episodes if this is your first time listening, and if you're a repeat listener, thank you for your support. I love making the podcast, and I hope you tune in for future episodes of Somehow We're Adults.